90.7 in Mombasa, Radio Generation. You can also get us on our online platforms, that is radiogeneration.co.ke. Someone who is in studio with me drinking a hot cup of, is it coffee or is it latte or is it cappuccino, Mr. C.T. Muga?
Coffee. You know, I honestly don't know what is latte. Cappuccino, I know is served in a small cup.
Right. There's also espresso. A long time ago,
I've heard that's the same thing.
No, not really. Those are all different
coffees.
Coffees, yes.
Right.
It just depends on how they've been made.
Coffee. It has no latte in it. It has no espresso in it.
Right.
It has no cappuccino in it. It's coffee. It's water and instant coffee.
This is what I understand about all those three. Espresso is a very concentrated coffee beverage, like super concentrated. And then it's really, really concentrated. You can choose it to have it with or without sugar. You can add honey if you want. Then latte has cream. Okay? It's dairy cream. Yes, so you mix it. It's kawaida coffee with cream.
The milk element.
Yes.
That's why it's called latte.
Now, cappuccino is one that has milk. And
one has cream and one...
Yes.
And the difference between cream and milk is what?
So now, the cream is where you ni cream. Hata mimi sijinajanga tu inakuanga ni cream. Juu nasikia mtu akisema, can I have a latte with extra cream? Then now, there is cappuccino. A cappuccino is when they froth the milk. Frothing the milk is making it bubble.
I know what it is.
Okay.
I know what it is.
Yes, so they froth.
Sasa inatoa povu.
Alasa waneka ile so inatengeneza actually ni espresso alafu inaongezwa ile nini? Inaongezwa ile frothy milk ndio inakuwa cappuccino. So ukienda pale 5, 6 star, 7 star hotel, ukifika pale unaambia waiter, can I have a cup of cappuccino?
Kuna watu wanauza hizo vitu hapa.
Unasema nini? Ukienda supermarket in the coffee section, you will find it there.
Eziko. So hiyo 6, 7 ambayo unataja.
Right.
Wacha na hiyo kitu.
So it's just a fancy way of saying white coffee.
It's a fancy way of saying expensive white coffee.
Exactly. But you can make the same in your house for as little as maximum 20 bob.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're having just regular coffee, aren't you?
Bro, ni maji na imewekwa na instant coffee ndani yake.
Alafu ikikirogwa. Umeweka chumvi, umeweka sukari. Umeweka honey.
Let me speak to you in a language that you can understand and you will understand it fully. Kwenda uko.
I give you grief every morning, don't I?
No, you don't give me grief. Ni kama usipoongea at 100 miles per minute, usikii viti.
You know, every time I walk in and I look at your face, ninaonanga tu huyu jamaa anaenda kuniambia nini sasa? But anyway, siti hivyo ndivyo ninakuanga.
So you're having fun? Yeah? That's good for you.
Hivyo ndivyo tunaendanga.
Bro, it is important that you have fun.
It's true.
Even if it's at my expense, it's okay.
I continue that way. It is the 24th day of October 2025. Absolutely loving this because it's we're getting to the end of the year. And most importantly, we're getting to the end of the month. And that means that means one thing.
It means one thing and one thing only.
One thing and one thing only. And I know the boss is listening. It means one thing and one thing only, that we are going to make him broke once again.
Right.
Na sio kupenda kwetu, ni ile kazi tunafanyanga. Sasa nilikuwa naangalia ile siku ama kitu ambacho tuna celebrate leo cha maana. Wacha niangalie. Leo ni 24th of what? 24th of October. Let me see. I actually had it and then it disappeared. Oh yeah, here we are. So on this day, this is what happened. In 1945, the United Nations officially comes into existence after the UN Charter is ratified by its first 25 nations. So in 1945, which is also the year that the Second World War came to a halt, or rather ended, after the death of Hitler and the Axis nations that were, antagonizing the world. The Allied forces, of course, led by the United States of America and the United Kingdom, actually saved the world, for lack of a better word.
The Europeans simply expanded their constant and century-old wars to include other countries.
Centuries.
Those guys, you need to understand, these Europeans are a traumatized people. Yes, they are.
I believe you. I and you've explained it to me several times, and
They are traumatized.
I usually understand it. Every time you say it, I get a fresh perspective.
Because if you look, if you look at how they have over time exported their trauma,
yes,
it's in their people escaping their own country to go to another country or taken to another country.
Yes,
without their will. Some will just determinedly go to those countries.
Right.
And then look at what they've done to the natives they found in those countries. The people whose country it is. They first disenfranchise you, kill you as though their purpose is to exterminate you. What sort of people are those, honestly? Just think about it. What sort of mindset is that? You find people going about their business, and then you set up, you create a narrative that dehumanizes them. So you're more or less giving yourself license to do what you like with them.
Yeah.
They are subhuman. They don't understand. You're civilizing them. For heaven's sake.
I have a question.
Ask.
What made them think? Of course, you were not there, but what do you think made them think that way?
But my friend, it's the ecosystem they had come from. Remember, these are people who came from monarchies, and how monarchies were evolved. The stronger survived. The person who managed to kill as many people as possible ended up being king. And if somebody killed him, they became king. Some formalized it so you could actually have a face-to-face battle, and if you killed the king, you became king.
Yeah.
It was their culture. Okay? The strong literally ruled.
Yeah.
And then over a period of time, these people would bring other people to join them, so they became stronger. They ruled with an iron fist. This democracy thing didn't come easily. The people realized that we cannot continue being ruled like this.
There are people who also attempted that here in Africa, isn't there? We have the pharaohs of Egypt. The Egyptian empire was actually quite a large one. It extended all the way to Ethiopia, and I think even to some extent here in Kenya. We
Why don't you just take it to Zanzibar while you're at it?
Did they?
Of course they didn't. I'm making fun of you.
Oh, okay.
Go on, yes.
Okay. But I mean, because from history, some of the movies I've watched also that try this. No, sicheke juu ya movies zangu tafadhali. Movies that try to be historically accurate. So
why, if you wanted to balance it, why didn't you watch Wakanda?
Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, so that you balance this story of yours. Since you like movies.
Yeah. No, we'll talk about Wakanda later on. But I actually believe something like Wakanda did exist. Maybe not Wakanda, but something like.
You know, did you know that there are actually more pyramids in Sudan than there in Egypt?
Yes, I know.
Good.
Yes,
now,
I know.
That civilization, if you look at it and what it is that they were doing, these relatives of ours in Europe were living in caves. And when they weren't living in caves or they had improved their lot, they were killing each other. Okay? These fellows had an organized form of government. Organized. Yes. If you look at many African communities, we were organized until somebody came and disorganized us. We had slavery. When clans fought, tribes fought, when people were captured, you were slaves. We had order. But the sort that these fellows exported to us.
Yes.
That was on a completely different level. Yes. But all it mirrored was what they had been doing to each other for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's like they couldn't help themselves. They had to fight over something. Every once in a while you found people who understood that, this nonsense is not going to help anybody.
Yeah.
We need to knock people's heads together so that they can see sense and stop fighting. When you find a word in a community, it tells you their thinking. Like, for instance, the word vendetta. It exists because it was a practice. And they're describing enmity and anger and the spirit of retribution that is spread over generations. Somebody speaks to you as though what they're fighting over happened yesterday. It's a 2,000-year-old battle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Historical injustices.
Yani wameshika hiyo kitu. These people did this.
Grudge.
Said, your father, no, your grandfather, no. Who then? Then they mentioned a name. Rodolfo, who?
Rodolfo the second.
Yes, him.
And you're like, bro, hizi ni shida banaza another century, actually another millennium.
Umezileta hapa. Yes, and they did.
Okay.
I first understood this when Yugoslavia was breaking apart and they were killing each other like a nonsense. Tito had brought that one, and I have a friend of mine who was the peacekeeping mission that went there. And when he was telling me the stories of those people...
Wait, that went to which country again?
Yugoslavia.
Yeah,
Kenya. He's a Kenyan, part of the Kenyan peacekeeping mission there. He was telling me the stories of how the vendettas people have. Yani wanashika maneno kama dini.
Mtu akona uchungu
kama dini, and the thing is 2000 years old.
Akona uchungu ilitoka the year 2000 AD.
Watu wao walikosewa, sasa yeye bado ameleta mpaka sasa. These are the things we want to avoid in this country, where you don't allow people to go around creating a situation of enmity where it doesn't exist.
Exactly, and especially between tribes.
Yes, it doesn't exist, but somebody is hell-bent on making sure that they create it and then they fuel it.
Yeah, true.
Those are people you don't just speak out against. You call on every government institution that deals with such people to deal with such a person sacrilegiously. Yes.
So in 1945, that's when the UN, United Nations, came together on a day like today. But I feel like today, if we reflect back on that 1945, which by the way is the year that Raila was born, right?
Yes.
Allah?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So if
it was called the League of Nations then.
Yes. Now, if you go back 8 years, the League of Nations was quite strong.
Yes.
Those 29 countries that they've mentioned here. But I feel like right now, the United Nations has never been this weak.
It's being tested seriously.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why it's being tested is because of the way they went about their business. These Europeans, by the way, when I say Europeans, I include Americans and Canadians. They're Europeans. Okay? These Europeans have always wanted to have a favored position in any organization that people have. And that's part of the reason why they differ with China. It's part of the reason why they would differ with people like in Russia. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a superiority complex because you think you're better.
And you see some of the problems that are plaguing them right now, that is the UN is, first of all, the war in Israel. Hiyo kitu imewachomea mbaya. Imewachomea properly. Of course, the situation...
Well, put it this way, they've been exposed.
The situation in Ukraine.
Yes.
Yani hizo vita mbili specifically zimewachomea. And of course, let's not forget what had happened in Syria for a very long time. More than a decade of fighting and killing, and it has really exposed their soft underbelly.
Not only that, it has also brought to question and to bring about debate on the forms of government that they have chosen and the economic models that they have favored.
Yeah.
Because when you favor capitalism, which is really unchecked, then you will have an administration and a political body that is elected. But the day-to-day management and running of the country is going to be determined by these wealthy fellows.
So the UN is...
Because they produce the arms that need to be sold. And you can't sell arms unless there's a war. Okay?
By the way, I mean, we know it. We've just never thought about it.
Yes. And then if you are a big farmer, a war is a wonderful thing for you. Because people die. People need medication.
People get sick.
My friend, the demand for your product does this.
From, like, I was just telling you last week, the situation that is in Palestine, Gaza or whatever. The children there are seriously malnutritioned, and then because of the malnutrition, their health situation is worse because their immunity is very weak, very low. So that means a lot of companies there, pharmaceutical companies, are benefiting from the medicine that they're sending there, the food that they're sending there, and the doctors that have been sent there. It's crazy. And
these are people who did not need to have been sent.
Exactly.
And it is not a question of when the Hamas attacked Israel. No. The question of why they did so, go back into history and understand where the problem didn't begin with the Palestinians, for heaven's sake. No, it began with the Zionists, Europeans. It began with them. You come into someone's territory, they are willing to accommodate you, but you are determined you must drive them out of their home. Now, what logic is that? But that's the logic that has prevailed. And these European countries, even the UN, have supported this for the longest time. The magnanimity of the Palestinians, okay, let's have a two-state affair. Let us be a state, let these fellows be a state. Let's run our affairs. Until this war came about, they were hell-bent on just making sure that this thing never happened. Now, so when I say, Baba hii ni kalaba, sisemi kwa ubaya ni ukweli tu. Okay? They did this with Lebanon. Lebanon was one thriving community, wealthy. Christians, Muslims, Jews lived next to each other peacefully. Then someone went and stirred the pot. The country is in shambles as we speak. It's like there's some people who are determined that there's certain places in the region that should not be stable.
You create a problem so that you can provide the solution.
You create a problem and you make sure that problem persists.
that you can be the constant provider of solutions.
Yes, yes. As I told you, they exported the trauma that they have had for the very longest time. See, one of the things they have managed to do over time, and they've utilized and used democracy, they've quelled their own population. Okay? They keep you nice, numbed, peaceful. You have football that you worship. You have Hollywood that you worship. Okay? You have things that you do that keeps you nice, quiet. You don't kick too much of a fuss. They make sure that you have services that are provided for you, so you feel we are living a good life. If you're living a good life, then why are you so hell-bent on supporting people whose sole purpose seems to be to ensure that they suppress other people?
Capitalism.
It is. And you have to define it, though. Not all capitalism is bad. This particular capitalism is called rentier capitalism. I think it's
Called Ronti?
rentier, R-A-N-T-I-E-R. It is not good. It's like having a toll booth and the internet is what exemplifies it best.
Yeah.
We revel in the idea that we have information at our fingertips, but it's always at a cost, isn't it?
It is actually.
So it's a toll booth.
Tuingie katika methali ya leo.
Ya mwisho.
Leo tukua Ijumaa, ilikuwa imetoka Eswatini jana. Leo bado inatoka Eswatini.
Ya mwisho.
Haya, sawa sawa.
Ya mwisho.
Na ukienda huko usisahau hiyo microphone
But then nilikuwa nimesahau.
Ulikuwa umesahau.
Nilikuwa nimeacha nyuma.
Haya, twende kazi.
Right. Even the best dancer cannot perform without the drum.
At the what?
Even the best dancer
Yes.
cannot perform without the drum. Beat. Yo, where's he? When you play songs, you see, the question that is always asked is, what are you dancing to? Which musical instrument are you dancing to? What keeps your rhythm? Is it the cowbell?
Yeah.
Is it the cymbal? Is it the drum?
Is it the nyatiti?
Yes. Is it the rhythm guitar? Is it the bass guitar? What is it? Because
There has got to be something.
there has to be something. Yes.
You just don't dance.
No, and the combination of it, there has to be something that keeps the beat. There has to be an instrument that's keeping the beat that everybody chimes into. Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome indeed.
All right. There we are. It is now 19 minutes past 6 o'clock. Let's check out what's on radiogeneration.co.ke. Indeed, we are the home of bold insights and hard truths. And the first story here is taking us all the way to Ghana, where former First Lady Nana Kanadu Ageman Rawlings passed away at the age of 76.
Oh dear.
Yes. So Ghana has been thrown into mourning following the death of Nana Kanadu, the country's former First Lady and a key figure in women's empowerment. The 76-year-old wife of the late President Jerry John Rawlings passed away on Thursday morning after a short illness, according to presidential spokesperson Felix Kwakie Ofusu. Her death marks the end of an era for one of Ghana's most influential and outspoken female leaders. Members of her family later paid a visit to President John Mahama to officially convey the sad news. Mahama, who leads the National Democratic Congress, the political party established by her husband, expressed deep sorrow, describing her as a central figure in Ghana's democratic journey and a relentless advocate for women's rights. During her years as First Lady, Ageman Rawlings carved out her own political space, founding the 31st December Women's Movement, an organization that promoted women's economic and social empowerment. The movement, named after the 1981 coup that brought her husband back to power, transformed the lives of many women across Ghana by teaching them income-generating skills and encouraging their participation in leadership. Born in November 1948 in Cape Coast, she grew up in a middle-class family and attended the prestigious Achimota School in Accra, where she met her future husband. Yeah. All right. May she rest in peace. Of course, this is Ghana's history, and I am sure, if we get into it, we'll probably get to read things about, her and her husband that the Ghanaian people could be proud of, Yeah. So to our Ghana friends, Ghana listeners, poleni tena sana. Mungu awajalie ama namna gani? Let's check out what else is making headlines as far as the headlines are concerned, or rather as far as the website is concerned. And NSSF, Chinese firm to build 170 billion Nairobi Mau Summit Highway. Allah. Okay. So our money, that is my money, NSSF, inajenga barabara.
My friend, we have a problem there. The French sued us.
I remember.
Yep. And now if you look at, when we look at the papers, you'll find they were supposed to be paying Adani for...
Adani?
Adani, yes. Remember that guy we said because we cancelled the contract.
Yeah.
And remember we had been told there was no contract.
But Adani is not in this...
You wait. The reason why I'm referencing this is because we cancel contracts and we still have to pay.
Yes.
That's really what I'm saying.
Okay. A partnership between China Road Bridge Corporation and the National Social Security Fund has been awarded the contract to construct and manage the Nairobi Nakuru Mau Summit Highway, a project valued at 170 billion. The selection came after the consortium proposed a lower base toll and accepted to absorb traffic and revenue risks, making the highway more affordable for motorists compared to rival bids. The Kenya National Highways Authority, that is KENHA, confirmed that the consortium's offer met all technical, financial, environmental, legal, and social conditions outlined by the Treasury's Public-Private Partnership Committee. The PPP Director General Kefa Seda explained that the primary factor for selecting the CRBC NSSF bid was its lower base toll. So hii ile unasema tulinyang'anya nani hiyo contract na wa Faransa?
Tuliwanyang'anya tukarudia tena, but this time the cost was more.
So this is a higher cost than what we would have paid France.
I don't know what the cost. I haven't compared it.
Yes,
but my problem is not that China Roads is building it. China Roads has built many things in this country. Question: who owns China Roads? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm asking the question.
Yeah,
because in this country, when a specific company gets too many contracts, you raise questions. Why are they being given this contract? They won it. There were other people who contested, and the other who even complained about the process of elimination, the process of arriving at the person who was most suited to build the road. China Roads, the roads they have built are good roads.
If I were to assume, it is because they paid probably a higher bribe.
Entrance fee.
And of course, I am saying what is out there. But I heard that this is what usually happens. The person who's going to give the highest bribe will definitely get the bid.
The reason why I will not comment on it is because I actually don't know.
Me, I've been told.
I've been told as well, but I don't know that there's sufficient evidence to support that view.
Because these things usually don't have evidence, bro.
They exist.
It's not like someone will tell you, no, this is the bribe I paid.
Actually, there's evidence. You're just looking at it the wrong way.
Okay.
For instance, how do we know that governors pilfer the money that they have been given to superintend? A lifestyle audit.
Yeah.
We know how you lived before you became governor. We can now see. You have no industries to speak of. You have no value-add enterprise that you have, and yet you're wealthy. How? How? This magic that these people have, especially politicians, they must show the rest of us that we can also be rich like them by doing whatever it is they do, which is not stealing according to them or not pilfering. Yes, a lifestyle audit normally reveals a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why our constitution required that you have an understanding of what someone's worth is.
Wealth declaration.
In this country, it's actually a joke. They should even stop bothering with it.
But they usually say but I do business. If you ask a lot of...
And which business? Do they... Someone is selling Skuma Wiki.
If you ask a lot of the politicians and CSs, PSs, whatever, the ones who've suddenly gotten rich, they'll tell you, but bro, nafanya biz.
Yeah, what business is it? When you are involved in a business, you really must tell us what it is, isn't it?
For example, if you're an MP, your credit status, I'm sure, goes high, because if you're earning roughly 1 million a month, you're probably eligible to get like a 10 million loan.
So that's your business.
I'm just saying. So if I as an MP,
and yet your net worth is 500 million, how?
So if I'm an MP and I can get a loan of say even 20 to 30 million,
make it even 50.
Yeah, 50 million. That's a very, hizo ni kuku ngapi naweza nunua wewe? Alafu niziuze. Hizo ni kuku ngapi bro? Haya. Hizo ni kuku pekee. How many M-Pesa shops can I open? How many butcheries can I open with 50M? That's a lot of butcheries, my friend. I can buy vehicles, matatus, yes. I can buy lorries for transportation. So if you give me 5 years as an MP, bwana nitakuwa rich. Even if you don't elect me next season, I'll be good to go. Now imagine if you elect me 3, 4, 5 times. And every time I take out a loan of 50M, that's probably like 200 million in a period of a 4-year term. With 200 million bwana, I can hapa naweza fungua radio generation kama 10.
If what you say were the truth,
yes,
then the places where these MPs come from would be thriving business hubs. Because these are people who would set the example of how to do business and others would follow. And the catalytic effect of the things they are doing would be seen in that period of 5 years. These things are not seen.
Yeah.
The businesses that they do are phantom. They are ghost businesses. If someone's involved in business, people tend to know what you do. Okay? If you have a bakery, we know you have a bakery.
Yep.
If you sell eggs, we know you sell eggs. Okay? If you're in the timber business, we know the forest you're decimating.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is businesses are not invisible entities. They're known. Okay? Yeah.
Okay. All right. All I'm saying is maybe there's an explanation.
I've just given you the explanation.
Yes. So your NSSF money is building that road that I've just mentioned.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We are assuming that there's a component where
yes,
this money of ours will make us more money and that we'll be able to benefit from it, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
You remember a few days ago I was telling you about the former broadcaster Sammy Louis. Yeah, so he passed on yesterday.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Let me just read this. President William Ruto has mourned the late Sammy Louis, describing him as a dedicated public servant, veteran broadcaster, and respected state master of ceremonies whose voice became part of Kenya's national identity. In his message of condolence, the president hailed Louis' long and distinguished career in the media and public communication sectors, saying his contribution left a lasting mark on Kenya's broadcasting history. Sammy Louis was a dedicated public servant, a veteran broadcaster, and the respected state master of ceremonies. From his early days as one of Kenya's pioneer journalists at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation to his time at the Presidential Press Service and later as a director of state events, his powerful voice was the familiar soundtrack to Kenyans. This is according to President Ruto. Yeah. So Louis served in various communication roles across government, including as director of state events, where he coordinated official functions and national ceremonies. You remember I told you he vetted one of our performances, and he said that performance was ilikuwa chini. He was very strict when it came to what was going to be presented to the president, and he was very good at his job. Yeah. So he has rested. Tunaombea familia yake waweze kukuwa comforted in this particular time that they're facing this difficulty. Did you ever interact with him?
Yes.
Okay.
Fine fellow. Very, very fine fellow. Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I did.
That's about that. Let's get into a little bit of traffic before we get into the newspapers. What's happening? I'm actually taking a picture. I'm looking at a map rather of Ngong Road. Na huko ni kama hata hakuna stress yote. But wacha tuangalie vizuri.
Traffic.
Yeah, it's now what? 30 minutes past 6 o'clock. Ngamko tu sawa. Hakuna shida yote kwa barabara. I'm looking at Langata Road looking good, Mombasa Road looking good, Ngong Road looking good, Raila Odinga Way looking good. Southern Bypass looking good. Lusaka Road looking good. Mombasa Road, wacha nirudi kunywa kidogo mpaka Kitengela nione kama kuna shida yote. Yeah, looking good. Then let me see. This is Airport North Road looking good. Hata watu wa Ruahi, no complaints coming through at all. There's a situation here though. This is Juja Road. No, this is not Juja. This is Pangani, sorry. Pangani, kawaida pale kuna traffic kama K. Actually watu wa Kiambu Road, just talk to your bosses, you start working from home. I do not understand why at 6:30 mnangangana kufika kazini. This is madness. Looking at Mombasa. Looking at Mombasa Road, not Mombasa Road, but looking at roads in Mombasa, there is a slight red. Imefunguka barabara. This was at Colfax Industrial Park. Kulikuanga na some traffic of sorts, but it's opened up right now. Guys are moving. Then there's a huku ni wapi? Magongo naona mko sawa sawa. Serani Sports Ground hamna shida yoyote. Wapi kwingine? Nikiangalia barabara inajulikana kama hii ina jina, lakini kule Makupa Bridge, naam, mko sawa, hamna shida yoyote. Tomboya Road kule ukielekea Wayaki Avenue mko sawa. Steve Biko Avenue hamna shida yoyote. Ronald Ngala pia naona mko sawa. Chochote kikitendeka pale barabarani na mnadhani inafaa kujua ili niweze kuelezea wananchi, basi mmoja wa mtanipata.
Traffic on Radio Generation.
Swadakta. Acha nianze na the Standard newspaper. Ruto after Raila. That's the question. Raila Odinga's death has ignited a fierce political battle, with President William Ruto moving swiftly to capture the late opposition leader's vast support base ahead of 2027. Sources say the president is plotting a grand realignment, from merging ODM with UDA to purging dissenters and installing loyalists across Raila's heartland in Nyanza, Coast and the Maa region. But the resistance is already blazing. ODM diehards accuse Ruto of trying to hijack and hollow out the party from within. We are seeing photos of prominent individuals there from ODM. We have Caleb Amisi, we have CS Oparanya, Babu Owino, Edwin Sifuna, Ali Hassan Joho, we have Oburu Odinga, Tukonae, Governor Pale Wanga, and of course the CS for Treasury, Mbadi. Okay, so that is what is on the front page of the Standard. And then we also have on the back page, this is the way to stardom. Nani? Harambee Starlets assistant coach Jacqueline Akoth instructs players during a training session ahead of their 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Gambia. Team Kenya undergoes anti-doping training forum. You can also find that on page what? No, the back page. Yeah, that's where you'll find it. No smooth ride for Ruto in ODM takeover plot. Dad's footsteps. Raila Jr. steps into father's shoes. You can see here Raila Jr. being crowned the head of the Odinga family. Then there is motorists to pay 8 bob per kilometer on China-backed Rironi to Mau Summit Road. Top judges, IPOA boss among 35 listed for Court of Appeal jobs. And at the very top there, Dr. Wabwire, breast procedure handed teen back her life and a fresh start. You can read that on page 3. And then on page 8, inside secret deals driving new wave of parties for 2027 polls. Will ODM survive or become a shell after 2027 polls? Let's see at the back page. You reap what you sow. Kenya's hit squad ready for golden harvest at Africa's on 3 finals. This is as far as women boxing is concerned. Starlets fired up ahead of WAFCON qualifier against the Gambia. And police reveal road closures for Stanchat Marathon. This is on the back page. Athletics, Eldoret set to crown cross-country kings and queens. That story is on page 34 to 35 of the Star Sports. Over to you, City.
I'm looking at the Daily Nation. Pressure mounting for the release of 2 Kenyans still missing in Uganda. The families of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyua are pleading with the governments of Kenya and Uganda to help find the 2 activists who were abducted in Kampala 3 weeks ago. A Ugandan court has dismissed a petition on the duo. Junior school teachers fight for autonomy goes to court. The teachers have asked the court to stop implementation of the comprehensive schools policy, which places pre-primary, primary and junior secondary schools under one head teacher. They argue that the rule violates the law. I see the point they're making. I see the point they're making. I actually do. Raila's son installed as head of the family. Raila Jr. undergoes a traditional ritual during his installation as the head of the family 4 days after the burial of his father, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, at the Poda Farm home in Bondo, Siaya County yesterday. Another cabinet reshuffle looms. This is bang in the middle of the paper. President and KANU leader set to cement deal after burying the hatchet. The technical teams appointed by President Ruto and KANU chairman Gideon Moi are working on the final details of an agreement for members of the independent party to secure state appointments, including cabinet posts. The death of ODM leader Raila Odinga is also likely to influence the changes. Right. The Business Daily. Banks, firms pocket 30 billion from road annuity scheme. Taxpayers have paid 30.89 billion to contractors and lenders involved in the funding and construction of roads under the annuity program across 11 counties. Companies to hire more workers for festive season. Kenya firms plan to increase the number of full-time employees in the final quarter of the year to support heightened activity and anticipated during the festive season, a new Central Bank of Kenya survey shows. Coffee topples men's clothes as top... let me read this. Coffee topples men's clothes as Kenya's top export to the US. Coffee has overtaken key cotton clothes such as men's suits and shorts to become the country's leading export to the United States, even as the textile sector reels from the expiry of the Africa Growth and Opportunities Act AGOA. Kenya in talks to pay Adani over cancelled electricity deal. Treasury seeks mutual separation instead of termination. Talks aim to lower exit compensation to Indian firm. Okay? Remember what I was telling you earlier on. Let me just read a paragraph so you can understand it better. Kenya is in talks with India's Adani Group over compensation after the verbal cancellation of a multi-billion shilling deal to build electricity transmission lines and substations. The Treasury's Public-Private Partnership Directorate has disclosed that talks are underway for an amicable resolution to the controversial contract. Okay? Then, in the live pages is the story of a young lady by the name of Wawira Njeru. She began what you call a kitchen in Ruiru to feed 25 children. This thing has grown into food for education, and it feeds 600,000 shillings daily across 1,500 schools in 13 counties. I've had occasion to meet this young lady, and when she tells her story, it's actually very simple. It's her story that counties have built their dishi na kitchen, whatever this, yeah. Okay.
Hiyo story ya chakula.
Yes. She had the idea, she implemented it, and for her efforts, she has won accolades. The Scholar Award, the Elevated Prize, Young Global Leader at the World Economic Forum, and the UN Kenya Person of the Year. So her work has been recognized, and we recognize it well because what she did, she looked at a problem and sought a solution for it, and it has worked. She would solicit donations from people she knew, and yes, this is how things grow. Remember what I was telling you?
Yeah.
An idea which germinates and grows, you can see it. Someone doesn't have to take pages and pages to explain to you. It is clear, it is visible.
Yeah.
That is one such thing.
Awesome. So I was looking at this situation on the front page of the Standard newspaper where they're saying Ruto after Raila. Hey, we shall have this conversation for sure. We are definitely going to have, and we will have it for a very long time to come. So folks, brace yourselves rather. When I say a long time, I mean like subsequent days, perhaps even into some time next year, depending on how things will pan out. But let's just touch on it kidogo, because they're saying Raila Odinga's death has ignited a fierce political battle, and every single paper this morning seems to point to the fact that Ruto is planning a hostile takeover of the ODM party. Politically, that is it. I mean, when the king has died, the throne is empty. Other kings or even other non-kings will want that throne. I remember in some, in history, when a king of a certain country would die, the neighboring kings would fight over who's going to control that particular region, either by installing a puppet of their own who becomes king in that particular area, or taking it over and making it part of their territory. So now, what is happening here is not unusual.
what is being said is happening. Do we know that it's happening?
It is happening.
How do we know it's happening?
Because, again, like we said, it is expected for it to happen.
And why must this be hostile? Because you have said it's a hostile takeover.
It's a hostile takeover
Why?
in this sense. It's a hostile takeover in this sense. It would have been okay if perhaps Ruto lets the party does its own internal thingy.
But you're suggesting that he's not letting it.
Oh, but bro, he's
No,
not.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
How do you know
Sasa mimi
that?
nakwambia
No,
hizi ni zile vitu sinanga evidence na ile
Actually,
evidence niko nayo siwezi sema hapa hewani.
that's hot air. Because
No, it's not hot air.
It is hot air.
It is not.
If you cannot provide
Evidence.
even a semblance of something that looks like evidence, then it's not just hearsay, it's propaganda. Yes. What are the signs that what you're saying is actually true?
Number one, ODM insiders, ODM members who are actually in government, you can see they are shifting their loyalties. As late as yesterday, can't remember the name of this particular person, but he pledged allegiance to President Ruto, and he said, "I was loyal to Baba." I saw the video this morning when I was coming to work. He said, "I was loyal to Baba, but going forward, I'm going to be loyal to you."
So?
What do you mean so?
So what?
Loyalty is not to...
You are a cabinet minister.
Loyalty is not just to the presidency. Loyalty is, number one, to your party that birthed you, that gave you your political career. So you will be loyal to the president. We're not saying that you don't be loyal to the president, because at the end of the day anyway, if you're serving in cabinet, obviously, you will need to be loyal to your boss. Lakini, kuna mambo ya chama na kuna mambo ya serikali. Kama unataka kuwa loyal to the president, by all means do. Toka kwa hii chama yako unaita ODM.
That's where you've missed the point.
Mimi ninasema hivyo kwa nini? Kwa sababu if you pledge allegiance to this person,
this individual is a cabinet secretary.
Like I said, I'll show you the video. Perhaps you'll help me identify this particular person. But I saw it, like I said, I was in a hurry leaving the morning.
Is this fellow a politician? Is he a cabinet secretary?
He is a politician. Let me
Then
find
if
this
he's a
video.
politician, then is he a politician of note?
And then probably I'll show you the picture, and then you tell me who this person is. Who is this? Who is this?
I don't know who this person is.
All right. So we'll confirm about the details of his identity later.
If that man, that's a guy who's clearly he's sending a job application.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then how do we know he was loyal to Baba
Okay,
even?
so today, this morning, let's assume we wake up in the morning and we find Edwin Sifuna saying, "I was loyal to Baba, I am now loyal to you, President Ruto."
Edwin Sifuna as a secretary general.
Si nimalize tu hii argument yangu. Nimalize tu alafu nikosoe. I'll be loyal to you. Then Governor Wanga says something similar. I was loyal to Baba, I'll be loyal to you. Then Kasmuel, I was loyal to Baba, I'll be loyal to you. So let's say the leadership of ODM as it is right now pledges allegiance to the government. Then we do not have ODM.
But that is not what is happening, is it?
But we can see.
No, you can't. I can't.
We can see from the rhetoric.
A nondescript individual is pledging loyalty. By all means, pledge loyalty.
Yes.
The Secretary General of a party, chairman of a party, these are people you're mentioning. Have they pledged loyalty? They haven't. You are taking the activity of an individual whom I don't know.
Yes.
He may be important in ODM. I also don't know if he is.
Right.
He may be a close ally of Raila Odinga. I also don't know. Because I don't know the person.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
What he's doing is what anybody who claims to be a politician would do now. Especially if they come from the Luo nation. Many of these people are, as a politician is, as in Kenya, the opportunistic. The opportunity has presented itself.
Okay.
So he is showing loyalty where nobody has asked him to show loyalty. What you're saying will make sense when I see people who are office bearers within ODM doing the same. Then I'll say, Paul has a point. I haven't seen it.
As we wait for that evidence, let me just read again what is on the front page of the Standard. Raila Odinga's death has ignited a fierce political battle, with President William Ruto moving swiftly to capture the late opposition leader's vast support base ahead of 2027. Sources say the president is plotting. Sources say. We also don't know these sources. Sources say that the where was I? The
Sources
president is
say-
plotting a grand realignment. The president now is plotting a grand realignment from merging ODM with UDA to purging dissenters and installing loyalists across Raila's heartlands in Nyanza, Coast and the Maa region. But the resistance is already blazing. ODM diehards accuse Ruto of trying to hijack and hollow out the party from within. So when they say he's hijacking, when they say
All that, everything you've read is conjecture. Have they said, somebody said this, quote, source, somebody said this, an insider, name, so it's conjecture, man, it's thin air. I mean, ODM insiders are named, said this and this. ODM stalwart supporters said this and this and this. Come on, man. That's empty rhetoric. Standard is reaching.
it is not empty.
It is absolutely empty.
Did you watch the burial at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University? The burial ceremony,
There's
the funeral.
something you want to say? I'm waiting to hear it.
Yeah. So you watched, and you saw how some of the leaders spoke there about the fact that Baba said, this is the direction we're going to take as a party. We're going to stick with you. We're going to do... My friend, you're not sticking with the president and then he becomes second fiddle to anything. You're sticking with the president because he's literally going to take leadership.
You are allowed to interpret situations as you see
Because
fit.
it is what they are.
No.
It is.
It is what you think they are. When politicians seek to feather their own nests, then see it as what it is. They are feathering their own nests. It is not they as individuals. It's not that the party is suddenly being... Do you really think if these fellows stopped being what the other people would not rise to the occasion and take over their place?
By these fellows, you mean who? ODM?
I am referring to the very people you are referring to. There's nobody here who has a permanent and pensionable job. No. And do you imagine that if they're left, other people don't take over those positions?
Politicians we've hosted here.
And how will
and
that damage
analysts-
the party?
And analysts, actually, it's more of the analysts than the politicians. Analysts have said that right now, what the president is trying to do is basically take over ODM.
That's a narrative that is being pushed, and I've heard it said over and over and over again. And I am wondering who is pushing that narrative, because it's a narrative and it's being pushed. It's being pushed really hard. Yes.
But perhaps evidence will come out later on. But I can tell you for a fact, the fact that we can see...
Be careful with the word fact. Because the moment you say fact, I'll ask you for evidence.
For a fact, we know that we have some voices that are against this, dalliance with the government. We have Sifuna. We have Governor Orengo. I can't remember the third person who.
We have Babu. We have Osotsi.
So we have a couple of.
We have we have Caleb Hamisi.
We have a couple of folks who are basically saying that, guys, kuna kitu mnasema yenye either wasn't agreed upon or is not the right direction, whether it was agreed upon or not.
Let me throw the cat among the pigeons for you so that you understand, because the person who's being spoken of is the former Prime Minister whom we buried recently.
Yes.
If there is one thing the former Prime Minister did with great aplomb and with dexterity, he was always able to play this political game better than many of his opponents. That Sifuna said what he said, that Babu did what they did. These are people who owe their allegiance directly to Baba and the party. And I'm saying this in the order I'm saying is that you understand it. At no point did you hear them say anything that was untoward or something that was against what Baba had actually stated. Then there are the voices of the diehard sycophants who form a choir and they just sing. Okay? And if they view that something is against the interest of what they believe is a collective good, and the person represents it, then they will oppose that particular individual. Within a political party, this isn't unusual. Because when you have a strong leader, everyone jostles to either catch the eye of the leader or to show that they're more loyal than the other. It is not unusual. In our politics, it is normal. Okay? It is one of the things that the immediate former deputy governor is accused of, that he was forcing people to pay allegiance to him. He is accused of. Evidence to support it I have not seen. So if it exists, let me repeat, I have not seen it, neither. All I've done is heard what people have to say. I am now hearing what people are saying. These are politicians whom you are referring to. Politicians are just about the most unreliable people you can ever come across. Most of our politicians do not have a stand. They don't have a position that they stick to unshakably. They move around, and that movement is best exemplified by how people move from one party to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. So this isn't something new that we're dealing with. We're not looking at something that has just been fermented after the passing of the former prime minister. No. These are politicians, and this is how the Kenyan politician behaves. The acting party leader has called for a meeting in his home in Bondo. I read that thing. I needed to read it twice so that I understand it.
Okay.
It is for ODM leadership among Luo Nyanza. I was asking, as party leader, should he not call a meeting for
all the leadership?
Yes. It occurred to me. Then I said, there must have a reason why he's following this particular order. Okay? Yesterday, when Kasmuel was there, I told him, Kasmuel, you need to be careful. Those who are in ODM should not make this a Luo party, because that will mark the beginning of the end of the party as it's currently constituted. Okay? Maybe I'm jumping the gun, and there's a logical reason why this is happening, but we will wait and see. If ODM is, as stated, a national party, any meeting that is called for ODM by the acting leader, should it not include all the members of ODM, irrespective of where they come from? My thinking. But you see, I'm not even a member of ODM. So one would argue, why are you commenting? Well, that's the job we do here.
Yeah.
We speak on such
It
issues.
is our work to, exactly.
Yes.
I want to read a few comments here from people who are commenting on this very subject. My Take 2.0, anasema, this kind of possibility must really scare the rebels within ODM who had hoped for the demise of the party to the advantage of opposition. Nikumoto Maze. JNK Media, Ruto is very right. Power is where people think power is. ODM right now think ODM power is with Ruto. And that is where power is. Wafula says there are two factions of ODM. The greedy betrayers who want to sell our party to Ruto, and the liberators who want Raila's legacy to endure. I belong to the latter. My Take again continues to say ODM is the most talked about party for the last 1 week. Even the opposition can't help but move around town talking about only ODM instead of their parties. Well, My Take, you're right. But it is because ODM is the party of Baba, and Baba did a lot of things for this country. So yes, it will be the talk of town for quite a while going forward. But yes, ndio wajamaa wanasema hivyo. Look, it is even if it were you, CT, and you are in the position of Ruto, trust me, you'd be eyeing ODM right now. You would be eyeing either to acquire it or to destroy it.
Let me tell you something. None of us know what Raila and Ruto discussed.
Forget what Raila and Ruto discussed.
No, it's at the heart of this discussion, Chief. And because of what I am saying is why the broad-based government was formed.
Lakini baba,
if there had been no broad-based government, you know, this discussion wouldn't be taking place.
You do realize that there's no one who can, going forward that is, there's no one who can give any government headache like Raila did. There's no one who can marshal up people the way Raila did.
For the past 4 decades, there's been nobody who could do that.
Exactly. And the one person who could actually give any government headache, from Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru to Ruto, huo jamaa ameenda. Na sasa venye vitu zimebaki, like that position, that power is up for grabs. So you can either take that power and destroy it, or take that power and own it.
You know, you're saying it's up for grabs as though that party doesn't have leaders within its ranks.
And that is why I'm saying the fact that there are possible heirs to the throne of Baba in terms of politics.
That's why I'm telling you, there's a narrative that is being pushed here. Why are they not saying that there are signs that there may be a strengthening of the bonds that have formed the broad-based government? Why is there a dominating conversation about a takeover? It's a narrative that is being pushed.
A takeover of what?
ODM. It's a narrative. When two parties agree, it's an understanding and an agreement. But the conversation is, Ruto wants to take over the party. Now, when I take you back to the understanding, it was between Ruto and Raila. Please remember that. I don't know what that agreement was with regards to their parties and with regards to 2027, except what I heard or what was documented as having been said by Raila. But how do you take over a party that already has structures unless they allow you to take it over? And they being the people who lead the party, how do you take it over?
City, how?
And when you take over the party, what exactly do you mean? You think that if you have people who are leaders in that party on your side, you'll automatically get the vote. Is that what you think?
Let me ask you, City, how do people rig elections, yet we have offices, we have institutions that run elections according to the constitutions of those lands and countries that they run?
I have no idea how people rig the elections.
Exactly.
I don't.
How do people assassinate presidents or prime ministers or kings and queens, yet these people have security and they have organs that protect those particular individuals?
Tie the two with what I'm saying.
What I'm trying to say is, it is not an impossibility for such a situation to occur.
It is a wild assertion.
Just because it hasn't happened here in Kenya, and we're talking about a takeover of a party, just because it has not happened here in Kenya, it doesn't mean that it will not or cannot happen.
Paul, the discussion around taking over a party, aligning, broad basing, whatever you want to call it, is with the understanding that you'll get the votes that were once commanded by this individual whom we laid to rest, Raila Odinga. So if you have members of ODM who are office bearers and they side with you, what makes you think and what guarantee do you have that the voters will follow? Because
there are no guarantees.
Precisely.
And
It's
that's
the
the thing.
voter that is at the heart of the struggle, not these individuals. These individuals, which one of them commands powers to get voters to shift in a particular direction the way Raila did? Which one?
You know, we're talking about different things here. We're not
No, we are not actually.
We're not just talking about the influence of
Taking over the party for what purpose? So that you can get the support base. And I'm asking you, what makes you think that if these fellows follow you, that the support base will follow them? My friend, that chance. An icicle in hell.
Haya, wacha nikwambie kitu moja. Si hii conversation tumesema tutaongelea for a very long time to come.
Yes.
Na nitakukumbusha hizi vitu zote. Hizi zote nitakukumbusha. Before we go for that break, a big shout out to one Michael Olande saying a new day and we thank God for it. Louis Rudasingwa, good morning everyone. Well, good morning to you. Nyaboke, good morning. Douglas Kibogong, good morning City and Bovi. Ask City if he read Mind Boy.
I did.
Okay. That's a book, storybook.
It's a book. It was a book that those who studied literature. It was a set book, as they call it.
Okay.
Yes.
City, why are in the first world countries don't have boarding schools? They have.
They do.
Yeah. Joel Odondi, say hi to City Muga. Hi City.
That's my relative. Yes.
Then
unlike you, who doesn't have relatives who say hello to them, I do.
Oh, you think so?
I know so.
My take 2.1 nasema you two are a great pair and complement each other very well, makes the show very interesting and enjoyable. Well, my take, thank you very much. Meanwhile, my relatives, tafadhali hebu nisalimieni ndio City ajue niko na watu.
It's 7 o'clock. Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The long-awaited public inquest into September 2024 Hillside and Russia Academy fire tragedy has been postponed to November 20th, 2025. This is after the DCI failed to present its report to the Nyeri court. Parents of the 21 boys who died in the dormitory fire arrived in court on Thursday morning, expecting proceedings to begin, only to learn that the DCI had not submitted its investigation file. The delay forced the magistrate to defer the start of the inquest.
So today we had come to court for the purposes of the inquest into the Hillside and Arusha Academy fire tragedy. So we have been informed that the resident prosecutor was not available today, that the resident prosecutor was indisposed. Equally, that the police file was not brought to court, so the matter was not able to proceed today. Today we came to register our presence in court and to be made part of the proceedings in the inquest, because funny enough, the victims' parents, the victims' families have not been informed of the proceedings.
President William Ruto has defended the signing of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Bill and 7 other laws. The president says they are meant to protect Kenyans from cyberbullying, extremism, and terrorism. Ruto, however, noted that the law has been temporarily suspended by the High Court. He spoke during the burial of Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja's father, Mzee Weston Kirocho Kanja, in Laikipia County.
Hiyo ndio ilikuwa kazi yangu ya siku hiyo, na ni kazi ya kikatiba ya kutia mkono sheria, kwa sababu ilikuwa imepita viwango vyote, nikaletewa na spika. Bahati mbaya tukapoteza waziri wetu mkuu wa zamani, lakini tayari nilikuwa ofisini kwa hiyo kazi. Hata nilikuwa nimevaa shati, nilikuwa naenda Ukambani kwa mambo ya barabara.
The government will today conduct a nationwide physical validation exercise for beneficiaries of the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement project. The World Bank funded Nyota initiative aimed at transforming the lives of vulnerable youth across Kenya targets to reach 820,000 young people aged between 18 and 29 years and up to 35 years of persons with disabilities across all 1,450 wards in the country. The 5-year project seeks to enhance employment opportunities, increase income generation, and promote savings among young people. Stakeholders have continued submitting views regarding the proposed government-owned enterprises. The bill seeks to create a new regulatory framework for state-owned enterprises. However, Ichiban Tax Advisory has opposed it, arguing that it merely repeats provisions already covered in the State Corporations Act without offering real reforms. Meanwhile, We Care organization has urged Parliament to ensure greater public participation, especially in decisions involving the sale of government-owned enterprises.
We are seeking indulgence of the committee by asking the consideration for performance evaluation framework to include citizen feedback mechanisms, e.g. status reports, performance scorecards, and surveys.
So the separations of these state entities is we don't find it justifiable, and we see that it would be a costly measure, especially to the taxpayers, and therefore our recommendation to either move the state corporations entirely into the government-owned enterprises bill.
Kenyan athlete Ruth Chepngetich has officially received a 3-year ban from the Athletics Integrity Unit following her provisional suspension earlier this year. Chepngetich, the women's marathon world record holder, admitted to anti-doping rule violations. She previously set the marathon world record at the 2024 Chicago Marathon with a 2 hours, 9 minutes and 56 seconds run. An initial positive test came on March 14th, 2025. The AIU then interviewed Chepngetich on April 16th. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, Generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
A very good morning and welcome back. Kuna mtu hapa anyway. So it is it is now 7
Kwa
minutes.
nyumba ya nani?
It is 7 minutes past 7 o'clock. And CT and I are in studio. We want to have a conversation around, bullying and parenting and what you should do about it in case you're struggling with that particular aspect. And to help us have this conversation is Maureen Mutia. She's a HR consultant, but most importantly, she is a parent. Maureen, a very good morning to you and welcome back to Radio Generation.
Thank you very much for having me.
A pleasure to have you here today. CT anacheka na amenichekesha, but people should know that we're actually laughing at a very scary situation called parenting. Let's first of all start by just defining what all these terms we are talking about mean. Bullying. What is bullying? Because bullying for me, I understand it from a high school perspective where I was monolized. I was, slapped around by my seniors, given clothes to wash that weren't mine, sent to the shop with less money but expected to buy, all this food stuff that I was sent. That to me is bullying. But the bullying we want to discuss today ni bullying gani?
There's bullying in all aspects. Today we are talking about parenting, so it must be something to do with the children.
Yes.
So you'd find there's some bullying in schools, some bullying at home, and there's bullying in the social setup. So bullying is where there's a child who's there's been made to do things that are not of the norm, and sometimes you're being forced to do something that is not within your comfort. And there's a very thin line between when you're talking about management and bullying, so we have to really define what this bullying is all about. So I'll give you a very small example. Maybe you're in a class setup and somebody's picking on you. You're minding your own business and then somebody just wants maybe to pick your pen or just to push you around and those kind of things. So they're pulling you out of the norm, the societal setup, and trying to make you do something that is not the normal. So I think that's part of the definition of bullying, because we just want to define it in a very soft way so that it can be understood by the generation that we want to target today. And
sometimes when we talk to our children, that's when you realize that by the kuna mtu shule anasumbuanga mtoto. Sometimes unasikia nakwambia nani papa today nani took my pen, yesterday it was my book, another day it was my pencil, another day it was my rubber, they stepped on me, they pushed me. That is the bullying we're talking about.
Exactly.
So when your child tells you this information, of course the first instinct is wanting to go to school the next morning and knocking the other child. Is that how we should deal with that situation?
No, we should not deal with it in that manner. But sometimes some things are extreme and you find the parent reacting in a different way. But what I always say is, let's have a conversation. And before your child gets to come and tell you that there was an incident in school, can the school be able now to reach out to you and tell you there was an incident that you're investigating and this is what happened? You might be told by your son or your daughter, but this is what we are doing. Because in an institution like a school, there's a lot of things that happen. And you cannot manage each and every child from an individual point of view, because there are some dynamics between the kids and our backgrounds. Upbringings are very different. So we need to be able now to understand what happened. Let there be a committee that can investigate the situation. If it can be mitigated immediately without getting out of proportion, then it should happen, because it happens even at the workplace or even in homes.
Yes, it does happen a lot.
So we just need to be able to say, this is how we are managing the situation. We need to also have protocols of how to manage these things, so that children also feel safe to be able to air these things, because sometimes you'll find a lot of kids don't talk about it, because they'll be bullied and they'll keep quiet, because if they come and talk about it, they'll be told, oh, you went to your mom, or you went to the teacher, and then it gets
snitched.
it gets out of control.
Yeah.
But now, how do we now get that information and use it from a very polite and what's the right word?
Cordial
way of of trying to have that discussion without getting it out of control.
You know, our parents, millennial parents, you know, akina CT, they used to tell us, for example, you'd come crying, oh daddy, you see nilichapa, anakwambia si hatu ujigonge. You know, and somehow it kind of helped because it also now strengthened you. It made you stronger. You're no longer a weakling because mtu anajua, if I hit movie will hit me back, as opposed to if I hit movie, he will always run to the teacher or run to his mommy or run to his daddy, you know. And somehow we coped with that situation.
Let me tell you, that kind of parenting was not bad, yeah. But we are not saying we are going to turn our institutions or society into a war zone.
Yeah.
But I always say, have the right of reply, because you can't just be bullied and not be able to defend yourself.
Stand for yourself.
Yeah, sometimes it calls for that. If it gets to that, protect yourself.
Okay, I mean, so at what point should I? Okay, how should I advise my child to stand for themselves? For example, this is a person who is constantly knocking him or her. Kulanga mangoto kila asubuhi. Wakienda kwa school bus, anashindanga kiambua toka hapa, mimi ndo nafaa kuketi hapa, wewe simama, yeye ndiye aketi. So how do I tell my child to deal with that situation? Do I tell her to, akikwambia siku usimame usisimame, akikukula ngoto wewe pia mkule? How do I deal with that specific one?
But you see, like for the example you are giving, ya basi, kutakuwa kuna adult in that bus, yeah? Can the child be able now to go and actually say, I am here, now every time I sit here, City comes and grabs me or City hits me. Let's see how it's going to be handled from that perspective.
Right.
But we can't say sometimes, let your child be beaten, lying flat, because we do not want to be able to defend ourselves. Kuna venye unaweza jidefend. I can get out of here, movie, first I slap you. The first thing you'll be shocked.
Yeah.
But by the second one, utajidefend. Either you'll block
or return fire.
Exactly. Like what City used to teach us when we were small. So we need actually to be able to say it's very important for, and that's why I said sometimes it's very important to have a right of reply. Right of reply ni kujidefend. Na ukijidefend, unajidefend moja yenye mtu atakurespect.
City, back in the day when you were a student, how did you deal with bullies? Ama you were the bully?
No,
yeah.
I have never been a bully.
Okay.
But I encountered bullying in a very mild form in primary school, mild. I didn't understand the concept behind it, but someone is bigger than you and they want to exert some power.
Yeah.
I'm using terms that I came to know and understand later. But in my secondary school, bullying was structured. It was a school that had a military tradition of sorts. So when you're in Form 1, there are things that were expected of you. There were even duties that were given to you and which you performed. If you performed them well, you really didn't have a problem. But when you overstepped your bounds, the person who would hold you accountable was not the seniors, it was just the person who was a class ahead of you. Okay? So it retained order. But what that meant was the prefects ended up having perhaps even more powers than the teachers.
Oh yeah, that also happened at Nairobi school.
So the school,
Nairobi school.
Yeah, so the order of the school was not, he keeps minding me. So the order was actually maintained from among the student body. And there was a hierarchy. You knew. The moment you left Form 1 and went to Form 2, privileges were increased. And they kept increasing as you moved further. Okay? Now, the problem with structured bullying, there were always people who stood out as bullies. There were others who were just performing what you call hazing. That was even considered normal, and nobody held it against them. It harmed no one. But there were people who bordered on actually being demented. They would cause harm. And it was individuals. And when you looked back at many of these individuals, these are people who had problems in their own homes. there were issues between their parents. They had a problem relating to their father. Something had happened to them. So that trauma was now being translated into trauma for people. And they didn't bully people who were their peers. They bullied smaller, younger, helpless people.
Yeah.
That's what they did. But it is a trait that you see whenever you're talking about power dynamics. Again, this is knowledge that I now have because it's something I've read about, so I understand it better.
Yeah.
Because it comes, the power dynamics in any relationship is always the case. What is even more interesting is you find it even in a married life.
Yeah.
Where there's somebody who wants to dominate, not have a relationship.
Yeah.
Dominate.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if they're children, they observe.
Yeah.
Children observe a lot more than we give them credit for. And these are children who are going to grow up emulating those very traits that they witnessed as they were children in that particular home. So when you talk about bullying, either of individuals or people who form themselves into groups, so they assert whatever it is that they intentionally do as a group, in the background somewhere there's a problem. But in a school setting, the real problem is not those children, it's the school administration.
Yeah.
And how they go about administering order in a school, especially if it's a boarding school.
He's mentioned something that I actually relate to, and that is structured bullying. Because like I told you, at Nairobi school kulikuwa na hiyo bullying ulikuwa unajitafanyika because ulikuwa unajua as a mono form 1, as a mono kuna two duties zenye zilikuwa ni zako jueni mono. Kufulia kuosha choo, kuosha dom zote, kufulia prefects nguo and so on and so forth. And it, initially you get there, you resist it, but you realize you are actually the only person resisting it, and it's getting you more knocked over than your friends, so you might as well just do it. I was lucky because my big brother was in the same school, so touch me, you're dead. But it gets to, I was one of the few lucky ones. So structured bullying is actually a thing, and especially in Kenyan schools it is, because when I speak to my peers in other schools as well, they'll tell me the same thing, that pia kwetu ilikuwa unapatiwa bucket and uchote maji, and it has become very acceptable. Yeah, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
I think that structured one, those days, molded us to who we are today.
Yes.
But what we are talking about is the aggression that is there. And the bullying that is there is either physical or mental. Because some of them will post things on social media to discredit you or to embarrass you. And kids will be out there laughing at you. You're walking, people are saying, oh, that's the movie, And as City said, you'd always find a bully is the person who wants to show dominance.
Yeah.
And they'll always pick somebody who's weak, who's not their peer.
They can't pick a strong person.
They can't pick a small person because they're a strong person, because they know the minute they pick a strong person, they'll be beaten thoroughly. And they'll be put to their place. So they'll go look for somebody where they know they can exercise that. Sometimes even it's the quiet child or the calm one in the institution and those kind of things. But when we talk about the institutions, whether it's public or private, they need to have modalities of how to deal with this, so that we can be able to ensure that it's a safe and secure place for our children.
I don't know if you're familiar with this situation that happened a couple of weeks ago, where there was this parent who was talking about her child who was being bullied. I think it was in Kajiado. By
Kitengela or somewhere.
Kitengela, exactly. Kajiado. The child was being bullied by another parent. Who apparently, because of the problems they had in school, now she made it personal to the child. I mean,
and the age of that child was really it was wrong.
Imefika wapi wazazi wana compete na watoto surely?
They do. They do. The power dynamics that we speak of and our quest to emulate the Western way of doing things is often devoid of just keen observation, because those communities are confused by and large. There are very many things that those people do that those of us who live, we look and say, what on earth are these people doing? The family unit, as you know it, when there's an increase of divorce in the manner that we see it, you fragment the family unit, and that's where the problems begin. Children thrive in a family unit. that's where they thrive. Why? Because human beings, the way we are formed, we are social creatures. So now, when you find a disagreement that could actually be sorted out, you go back to the genesis of it. It's the understanding of what a relationship should be. A relationship cannot be friction-free. It can't. There will always be a differing of opinions. Now, maturation is knowing how to manage these differences. And people who've lived together for a long time as man and wife, you'll find they've managed to overcome these things over time. That's why they are very much at ease in each other's company. You can actually tell these people are actually at ease in each other's company. And if someone says something, someone can actually voice an opinion or disagree with the other person. And you don't see fire coming out of someone's nostrils.
No.
They just take it in their stride and say, so-and-so is right, actually. Why? They've learned to accommodate, and not only accommodate, but respect the views of others. Most people become parents, one, when they haven't even understood what it means to be married. You are Jessica. And what you'll go through. So when children come along, God Almighty, the problems that existed before are now magnified, because now there's this other individual who didn't ask to be around, but they're around, and they require both your attention.
Yes.
Now, if you're not prepared to understand that this enterprise that you're involved in requires you putting aside what you may personally particularly want and looking at the commonality and the communal way of doing things, and I'm speaking generically here, you're in for a really bumpy ride. And the person who will bear the brunt of this are the children. Because you're busy sorting out issues in your head, and these children are growing up and listening and watching while you're busy sorting out things in your head. Things you should have sorted out before you actually got into this. And then all suddenly realizing, perhaps I shouldn't have been in this. For heaven's sake, should you not have thought of that before you got into it?
Are there teachers that bully kids?
Yeah, they are.
Yes, they are.
They are there. And I think what we need to be able to do is empower our children to be able to speak out, so that they can be able to come and tell you in confidence that, Dad, Mom, this happened. And then you can pick it up. Sometimes it's something that can be resolved among themselves. You can be able to advise. That's a conversation you and Buvi need to have. And in an event you're not able, escalate it to CT, who's your class teacher, so that you can try and resolve. By the time a parent is getting involved, it's something that is getting out of hand. Case in point, what you're giving the example of that parent. I mean, your child is having to cycle like a car around. Was it a couple of kilometers to go to school?
Yes.
Yet there's
a shortcut
a
few meters away.
I will just cross this court and then I'll be in school. So some of those things, even when you're resolving these issues as parents, let's not get so aggressive. Because yes, that parent was saying the child had been bullied and this kid had apologized, and this kid and the mom went to the house and apologized, but now she was using her powers to try and punish the kid further. I mean, that was a grade 2. What kind of punishment do you think that kid was learning?
But because that story, I never got the chance to interrogate it very well. But what would make a parent do such a thing to a child?
What exactly the parent do?
So there are two kids involved here. They fought in school.
Fought?
Yes, for whatever reason. Kids fight all the time. So these kids fought. One of the parents is a kawaida mwananchi. The other parent is some county government official somewhere. So this county government child went and told the mother, so the mother decided to say, ni ule mtoto wa fulani fulani. Aya, si wanapitanga hapo akienda shule. Asipite hapa. So akaambia soja, hii barabara mtoto akikuja hapa asipite. So the child went and apologized to this county government official, this child that apparently beat the other one. Kaambia mama bana, najua niligonga your son, I'm really sorry. And according to me, that should have ended there. But the thing escalated and the mother was like, yo pole yako peleka huko kwenu. Kuna pole na by the ile gate nisijaribu kukuona tena. So the child has to cycle, because he cycles to whatever, to school, has to go via a very long route, yet there's a shortcut through that court.
That child is going to be very fit.
Yeah, he's going to be very fit for a fact. But here's a situation whereby that was unnecessary. These are kids disagree the same way.
The problem is not the kids here.
The same way parents disagree, or rather adults.
The problem
disagree.
is the kids here. Kids disagree and fight all the time. this particular parent is immature.
Very.
And somehow, being a county parent or whatever she is, I think has gone to her head. Children disagree. Throughout that child's life, that child is going to disagree with that.
So
it's
many
a
people.
normal way of growing. Kwani, how many fights do people get into when they're young, when they're children? And some of the people you fought with end up being some of your best friends.
Exactly.
Because
actually you end up marrying some of them. Let's go back to best friends. Let's go back to best friends.
Amana movie bana.
huko ndio imefika. What?
Movie, you're going to bully a girl so that you marry them.
But you know, he's not actually wrong.
No, sometimes girls bully boys.
No, he's actually not wrong, because if you, as you said it, my mind went back to my primary school. It is true. Some of the girls that you had disagreements with,
It is because you had a crush on them.
Yes, and you didn't know how to deal
You
with that.
didn't know how to express yourself.
That emotion confused the heck out of you, so you didn't know what to do. You meet them in secondary school, and you become very good friends. Yes, true.
You share your pocket money.
Yeah.
No, it's not actually share.
You give them.
You expend your pocket money.
She says hi to you. But it's because you just don't know how to say hi.
No, you don't know what to do. And plus, your guy friends, man, they're going to tease the hell out of you.
Yeah. Akiukanyanga by mistake, angalia malunenda wewe.
That time your heart is just like this.
It's like, oh my God, ameniguza. But yeah, so parents will bully other kids, and it's very unfortunate. It tells a lot about how they were brought up.
But it also tells you a lot about why that child is the way they are.
Yes.
If that is your parent.
Yeah. You can excuse the child.
Let me speak to you as somebody who was an educator and even a head teacher. I learned not to send children home, but to send them to go and bring their parents. For whatever reason. If it is school fee, just go and bring your parent, because you don't pay your fees. Why am I sending you home?
Yeah.
But once you bring your parent, you go back to class. And the incidents where I had some truants, when I met the father, not mother, father.
Unajua malishida iko.
I even told the child, you just go away. I know where the problem is. Because I met the parent. If this child will be, if this is the parent, mtoto akona shida kweli. Yes. You realize immediately. That was the joy of meeting parents. Because the parents gave you a very, very clear inkling as to how this particular child was brought up. Just by talking to the parent, finding out what they do, finding out how many children they have. Yes, where they do their business. Simple things like that. It explained to you. It also explained to you why some children came to school and were bullying others.
Yeah.
When we talk about bullying in the office, for a HR practitioner, how do you differentiate that the bullying? Okay, hebu tuambie bullying in the office inafanyika angaje?
Bullying in the office can happen because I'm working with you, for example.
Right.
And I know I have some power above you. So I'll be making you do some things. Sometimes you'll find some bosses who will give you an assignment, maybe 4:30 or 4:45, and they know it is going to take 2 hours. And they'll be like, Mbuvi, just finish this before you go. I want it at my desk for review. That person, maybe they have an evening class or the family oriented. It's past your time. But you'll sit there to crunch the assignment so that you make sure it's done. Or they pick on you for, even when they're giving examples, like even poor performance. And we're in a maybe a meeting, yeah? So there's all the stuff are there. And you'll find somebody saying, yeah, like movie, you know, that assignment, the kind of rubbish you wrote. I mean, that's not the kind of feedback I need to have in front of my peers.
Yeah.
Because that even reduces a person's ego. You crush them.
And even respect from my colleagues.
Exactly.
So, yani mbuvi anakuanga anafanya kazi useless hivi.
Or somebody tells you, hapo me perform 10%. You know, yeah, ni perform 10%, but tell me in a structured way so that I can be able to know how do I get to their 100. So it also happens. But now, some people will say, I'm being bullied when they're being actually managed, poor performance management.
Okay.
When you're doing performance management, I'll be like, City, this is the structure. We need to have these assignments and you need to be able to deliver them at a certain intervals, you see, and we have a review. I might say, City just doesn't like me. This is bullying. So when somebody brings a case of bullying and harassment and discrimination, because they are all
in the same
in the
group.
same in sexual harassment, you'll find it's something that you need to now investigate properly and be able to differentiate. Is it bullying? Is it harassment? Sometimes it's even bullying and harassment at the same time. Sometimes it's even plus sexual harassment. The other day we were having some training and somebody was like, yeah, you know those names you call your colleagues, the pet names that somebody tells you, siti mi sipendi ukiniita hivyo. That's sexual harassment. Yes, I can. Or you come say hi to me, you keep on touching me, and I'm very uncomfortable with this kind of thing. Siti cheka na uingie huko chini. But it's true. You know, you'll find some people are very uncomfortable. Nata nikiona movie akikuja my way, I find a reason to just get my papers or call City so that
you can be in a safe environment because it is around.
Yes, because unajua huyu atafanya kitu yenye itanifanya very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or your personal space, mtu anakuja kuongelesha ako hapo, unashindwa, this is my personal space. You need to be able to respect that. Yeah, and those are some of the things that a lot of us don't get to understand. And those small trainings in organizations are eye openers, because somebody gets to know, oh, by the way, I keep on calling that person sweetie or young man, you know, handsome, those things, and maybe they don't like it, and they've expressed it once and said, I don't like it, but you keep on continuing. You're thinking you're doing something great, but it's actually messing up somebody else.
True.
Yeah.
You know, I like in a previous place I worked, I had a very, and I'll call him a nasty boss, because he used to body shame me properly, and for him it was very normal, and he would talk from one end of the corridor, or the office rather, and he would shout from there, and I would be like, yo. But for me, I have a thick skin. There are things you'll tell me and I'll look at you and be like and move on. And I'll be the moment nimecheka nimeangalia, I've actually forgotten about you. But the other colleagues I saw going through that situation, and it hurt them every single day, to a point whereby some resigned, some sued even, others it almost got physical with this particular boss, because you know, when you meet a man and then you tell them they need a sports bra, they might end up really knocking the lights out of you. So, and it happened
cha kucheka hiyo ni serious bana.
kuna watu walikuwa wana go through. Actually, there's one time a colleague told him some very derogative words, and the whole office, there was pin drop silence.
Yes,
because we knew the next thing that is going to happen, someone is going to lose their neck. So there are those incidences.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with as let's say if CT were my boss today and he's bullying me? So how do I? Because he has probably the authority to hire or fire me.
Yeah.
How do I deal with that?
But the organization needs to have a structure so that you're able to know how to escalate some of these things. Because, for example, I'll know if I cannot resolve it with my immediate manager, who's the bully now.
Yeah.
Who's his manager? So there might be either a countersigning officer or his supervisor. Sometimes some organizations have mechanisms of reporting those kind of things silently, so that in an event it's out, it doesn't come out as it's movie who did it. So there's a committee. So there's fairness in terms of how they're going to deal with the situation. And people actually need to be reporting these things. And I always say, encourage also your colleagues or your children or whatever group that you're dealing with to actually voice out when they feel they're being suppressed.
You know, workplace dynamics, I'm glad you brought up, can be very, very interesting and unique.
Yeah.
Because you will have a structure that you can see, but there can be a substructure that isn't documented anywhere, but it is as real as in fact, it's more real.
Yes.
For instance, there are people whom the boss listens to. They may not even have a position of authority that you speak of, but the boss listens to this person more than anybody else.
Yeah.
There may be somebody who is friendly to that line manager. They have some business they do together, or they have some relation that you don't know about. And because of that, this person can get away with murder and nothing will happen. Now, you have a structure. Something happens and you follow this structure. But because of this substructure or this superstructure, depending on what these individuals who seem to be part of this substructure believe should happen, that matter of yours will not go far. You may even be wronged, and you're the one who lose your job.
Yeah.
And that's why there's the law, where people can now be able to have a fallback plan.
Yeah.
But proper organizations where there are proper structures, and a lot of institutions need to have that. You need to have mechanisms of settling some of these things, so that there's what was done. Because like now you said you have thick skin, which is okay, but you still remember what that guy used to do to you.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? That thing somehow remained.
It got to me.
Yes, it got to you, and it remained there in a way that you refer to it. I remember I also had a boss like that a couple of years ago, and he was the kind of person who would now go and have conversations behind your back. So one time he made a mistake and told me, oh, by the way, you know, the regional manager doesn't feel like you do much. I was like, oh, really? I'll go and speak to her. Because no, I spoke to her. Kumbe, the guy used to take my reports and just sign off his name at the end of the day. Yeah. So I went to the regional director.
Yeah.
Actually, she was a director, and I was like, oh yeah, I was having my review, and there were some concerns that were brought up. She was like, yeah, I don't feel you. We don't feel your presence. I'm like,
what do you mean?
Explain, please.
Who drafted this? Who did this? Who did this? They're like, X. I'm like, X?
It is me.
Just give me a minute. I brought my laptop. See? Somebody had taught me, never trust this guy. So every time you do something,
document it.
Document and save.
Paper trail.
Paper trail. Na mimi nilikuwa nayo hivi. I brought. She was like, you mean? I was like, yeah. Some of the things that I'm writing about the Kenyan culture, this person is a foreigner. Amejulia wapi? Atajulia wapi? So she called us for a meeting. I was the only Miro there. We were called for a meeting, and she gave an assignment. So the guy said, no, it's okay. I'll do it. And then we left. We got out of the office like this. Apo inja too. It was like, just do the assignment.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I did the assignment word by word. And then I BCC'd the regional director.
Right.
5 minutes were not over
Before someone took credit.
before the guy sent it. All he did was remove Maureen there
And put his name.
She called me. She was like, oh my goodness.
I have seen it for myself now.
Yeah. So some of those things are done silently, where somebody is not saying the truth. You don't know that you're being bullied, but there's something that is happening uko nyuma, behind the scenes. But when you actually confront them, sometimes it helps you. And a lot of things that we are doing is not empowering our people to be able to say, no, here, you're not doing it right.
But Maureen, you know, there's what I have observed over time is this clash that we have between the law, whether it is the institutional framework that you have that governs your workplace and the bylaws by which you conduct your affairs, or the law as we know it in the country. There's a clash between that and the way we have been culturalized into responding to issues. Why I'm saying there's a clash is because over time, there's something I saw. Something happens to an individual. It is wrong. That person should actually go to the police station and probably be forwarded to jail directly. Okay? Somebody who's related to them in one way comes to plead their case.
Yeah.
And they're not pleading and saying, look, let this person be let go of, let them pay back for whatever wrong they have. They're saying, why don't you transfer this person? And you're thinking, at what? They even think it is okay. This is a person who has gone and stolen property that isn't his, has been caught red-handed. I remember a case of a girl who stole a bank card from one of her colleagues and even drew money from the bank. Okay, they were close friends. This came up now. You know that is a police case.
Yeah.
The only thing you will do is not make it a police case, get the girl to get back her money, and then the person is let go of. Somebody who is related comes to beg and says, look, why don't we take her to this other station? And you're thinking, bro,
You're transferring the problem.
no, actually what you're doing is you're encouraging that behavior. What you've done is told them that it is okay so long as you have somebody who can plead your case, you are fine. But the bigger problem is, if that's how you think and you're in a position of authority, what else have you been letting slip by with that way of thinking?
Yeah.
We do not have a very good relationship with the law as Kenyans. No, we don't. And we carry that to the workplace.
Yeah.
Where if my friends, family and people close to me are involved, then the law doesn't apply. We see it playing out in the national arena, but it plays out because we already are inclined towards that way of thinking. It's part of us. Now, take a step back and let's go back to even the days of schooling. There are certain sports that certain age groups were allowed to perform in.
Yeah.
Now, I speak here as somebody who was an educator in the secondary school system. There are teachers who cheated continuously. There's an ancient creature who even has a beard, and you're being told this fellow is 14 years old.
Ancient creature, eh?
And you're looking and saying, what do you mean?
Hormones.
You have children whose voices haven't even broken. And you say, they want these kids to play. I say, no, there's something wrong. And you're being told, no, this guy is 14. This guy can't be 14.
The bones even look old.
This fellow is minimum 18.
Yeah.
Okay?
Actually, in Form 1, when I was 14, I went to school with someone who was 21.
Yes.
In the same Form 1. Yeah. But there's something City said, and I feel like we haven't really exhausted it. About, and especially when it comes to sexual harassment, for instance. You might be harassed by your senior, your boss. Or even a fellow colleague who's not necessarily your boss. But that person is the one who's bringing the bacon to that company. Kama ni sales zake ndio ziko the highest. Clients wote wanatakanga wakikuja pa nasemanga we want to see CT, for example. And now CT is the one bullying you. How do I even tell the company to punish someone such as CT? And perhaps even the punishment means dismissing CT out of the company.
And that is what exactly you were saying, where you're talking about this person going to say, instead of firing this person, transfer them to this department.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to voice ourselves. We need to empower our employees to a level where they can be able to say, I am not comfortable here because CT is doing ABCD. Yeah. And let also employers be the gatekeepers, because it is actually, they have duty of care. And legally they're supposed to be able to protect this employee, irrespective of what is happening in the institution.
Hata kama CT ana bring the big bucks,
hata kama yeye ndio MD ama yeye ndio CEO, kama iko na ina need ku addressiwa vizuri. Because when you look at some of these international organizations we have, those procedures are there and the protocol is quite clear. And you're able to even report a sexual harassment case for your colleague who's not able to do it, because you're able to say, I'm coming to tell you in confidence, Mbuvi, CT is doing ABCD to Maureen. And you can actually investigate it. So if you're feeling you're not able to report this person directly, have some colleagues that you have confidence with, are confident within the institution, where you can say, this is how I feel about this relationship, and I want your help.
Because I've actually seen, again, I worked in such a company where this person, and I came to know this much later when eventually this person was dismissed. This person had harassed interns in that company, left, right, and center. And not just interns, even new employees who just got in and they do not know left from right.
But Paul, do you realize such people actually have a serious problem?
Yes.
Yeah, of course they do. They do. This person had, coerced majority of these girls into sleeping with him for whatever reason, whether they were getting, specific favors within the company. And by the time hii story ilikuwa inalipuka, and this was a very high-ranking person in this particular company, I was like, where? The respect that I had for them just disappeared, literally. you know, they were some sort of hero, and from that day I was like, wait.
But do you know that such people also live in an ecosystem where such things are actually applauded?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is why that behavior is actually strengthened, and that's why they conduct themselves that way. For instance, there are people who make a point of berating people who, for instance, they feel do not conform to certain norms and standards that they have in their head. And if you don't, they'll harass the living daylights out of you and make your life a living miserable hell. Okay? Some do it perhaps in a quiet way, but it is still the same way. But worse still, you'll find that within an organization, there are people who are in positions of authority, but they'll only promote certain types of people.
Yeah.
They have the power, and anybody who has actual ability is guaranteed not to rise. In fact, you might as well look for another job elsewhere, because so long as that person is where they are, you will never.
Hakuna kazi.
And some of them rise to very, very many senior positions in the organization, some even to senior positions in the government. But the problem is, the more they rise, the more people keep quiet.
Yeah.
Because it is something that somehow has been accepted. I'm using the word accepted deliberately because nobody seems to fight it.
Silence.
Yes. So people realize, for me to survive, let me just keep quiet. It's actually my interest not to speak. So anything that could be considered wrong never gets reported, never gets talked about. So you may even think there's no problem, and yet there are problems.
Yeah.
Big ones.
Yeah. Because that particular person I'm talking about, I mean, they had to let him go at one point. I think the stories became too much.
Yeah.
They just became too much. But you know, he was, like I said, bringing the big bucks. This is a person who was more or less paying all our salaries because of the work that he was doing. He had all these clients and so on and so forth. So, you know, when you think of getting rid of Maureen, you're thinking, if you get rid of Maureen, how will this company going to survive going forward?
There's a similar case that happened in BBC. There was an individual who had a particular program, and it used to bring BBC a lot of money. And he grew horns and would talk as he saw fit even with his superiors. There's one, and most people sort of like back down, but there's one fellow who simply said, guys, it's okay, what you do, you go. And they left. Yes, the revenue dipped for a while, and then it rose up again.
Yeah.
You see, there are people for whom authority and fame gets them into a dizzy space where they are worse than drunk, they are worse than intoxicated by drugs. Yes. And so they behave badly. But that bad behavior was always somewhere. It's just that an opportunity for it to make itself manifest has now been provided. Most people in our country who have authority think that authority makes them bulletproof. So they do not have to be obedient to the law. The law is a suggestion to them. You may obey the law. You may drive on the left side of the road. You may come to work at 8 o'clock like everybody. It is a suggestion. And the problem with that culture is, when it happens to people who are in position of authority and they're being watched, it cascades down, and suddenly you have a culture of people who feel they can disregard the law as they see fit. Now, you think of that ecosystem, bullying will thrive.
Yes.
Because what you've done, you've entrenched a concept that you shouldn't have. It's called impunity. Now, if you look at the political class that we have in this country, forgive me, Maureen, I always bring politics into the discussion.
It's important.
And the way they allow our laws to be created, it's with this understanding that nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And many of the laws, verbally they'll tell you it's intended to make the lives of people better. But you look at them and you're not quite sure what they mean, because you can't see how people's lives will become better as a result of this.
Yes.
But that, in a sense, means that our own people whom we actually elect bully us.
And we allow them to.
Yes. Have you ever been to a rally and there's somebody who perhaps opposes the person who is in power at that particular point in time? Why do you think they always work with goons? You dare. You dare say anything.
And they'll be released on you.
Yes. And you know.
Yes.
you dare. And some of them may not be told, attack that person, but they want to demonstrate to the venerated leader that they have the interest at heart. So anybody who utters anything that is construed to be opposed to what this guy says, you're done for, man. Now, this bullying we are speaking of, we've entrenched it as part of our culture in this country.
So how do we going forward then? First of all, because I've seen actually a comment here, let me just read it out loud. Hurt people. Yeah,
Yes.
mtu ambaye ameumia anaumizanga mwingine.
It's true.
Same thing City says here, you know, traumatize people, transfer that trauma to other people.
Others.
So it's more or less the same thing. How do we prepare our children, number one, for bullying?
They need to know there's bullying, yeah, and they need to be able to identify that this is not normal, this is bullying, and I should escalate this. Yeah, I should either be able to speak to the class prefect or the class teacher, depending on the levels of these kids. Yeah, they need to voice themselves, and in an event you don't feel comfortable enough to do it in school, then ensure there's a parent who gets to know.
Yep.
But also parents need to be able to allow their children to have an environment that they can be able to be approached. Because sometimes we have parents who are there providing financially, but that's it.
They're
Jamaa
not
yuko
present.
tu. And then when they come home, they have no time to ask, how was your day? And sometimes it's not how was your day, and then I'm saying, fine. Sometimes look at your child and be able to see, this fine, there's more to it.
I should dig deep.
I should dig deeper. Or don't just ask a broad question, how was your day? Go to specifics. Get to know exactly what they were doing.
House class.
Yes. Which class?
Yeah.
What were you able to achieve?
Yeah.
Those kind of things. And then empower them. Let the kids know they can be able to approach people. Let the institutions that these kids are studying be able to empower our children in a way that they can be able to approach the teachers, they can be able to approach the administration or whichever authority that is around them, to be able to say, I'm not happy with the way my colleague is behaving, so that it can be mitigated early. And let's have sessions. Nowadays we are always calling parents for career days and those kind of things. Let's also call parents who can be able to counsel our kids, so that they are able to identify some of these things. Because when I said sometimes sexual harassment is the name that you call me in the office, or the way you come and touch me and I'm not comfortable. Some small things that you might think are not harmful, they're very harmful to the other person. So how can I be able to say, by the movie, I normally don't like it. Just talk to me nicely. Or when you're talking to me, let there be space. Don't be in my face like this.
Stop breathing on my forehead.
You know, there are folks who are like that,
Yes.
Like it's like they're almost smooching you and you're like, hey bro, see? Naweza kakusikia ukiwa tu hapo, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. So hata sengine wengine hawajui that hiyo ni wame cross line. Kuna wengine hawajui.
I think actually last time you were here, we're talking about boundaries,
Yes. So kuna wengine hawajui kuna hiyo boundary. Because culture zetu na backgrounds, they are very diverse. Kuna wengine utapata sijui a father is still when saying bye, they're kissing their daughter who's 14 on the mouth, and you're like,
that's crazy.
From where I come from, you will die first, or my mother will turn in her grave. But kuna culture hiyo si kitu unajua. So also let's understand hawa watu ni kina nani, na wewe ukienda kwa society ya watu wengine, understand what their culture is before you jump into conclusions that this and this is what is happening. So that we live in a society that is accommodative, because that's why there is diversity.
You know, I find grown men, you know, because, you know, again, you've talked about culture, where you come from, you know, there's like a boundary, there's personal space, but there are people who've actually, and it's normal for them, they're not doing it kobaya. They will talk to you while holding your hand.
Yes.
And now you see where you come from. The last person to hold your hand was your mother when you were a baby.
Yes.
And it makes you uncomfortable. But you see, you also understand hawana ubaya. But then how do I tell City, for example, if it is Situ who likes talking to me zile za movie ni aje, ananishikilia mkono alafu anaishikilia hivyo for the next 5 minutes as we are talking, and you're like, bro, do you know this greeting ended 5 minutes ago? I need to
yes,
like niachilie sasa
on my handbag.
Yeah. Then now let's continue the call. But there are people who are like that,
and that's why institutions need to have this kind of some institutions will call them the brown bags.
Yeah,
it's not eating onto the company time.
Sitimono unacheka. Ulishuka mkono na mtu
alishikwa kitambo.
I am actually seeing people whom I know whenever I go to my rural home, who talk to you and will not let go of your hand.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They and they're actually not aware. No, I mean, it's not that they mean harm. That
it's very normal.
No, they are actually demonstrating the closeness they feel they have towards you.
Yes.
Yes. So that's why I was smiling and laughing, because I'm actually, there's an individual I'm picturing.
Okay. But unaona hiyo ni kitu iko. Hiyo iko kwa culture hapo.
Yes.
But sasa mimi ndio nikuelewe. Tuko kwa organization iko na very many dynamic people.
Tuko town.
Tuko town.
Yes.
So hapa tuko town, tuna need kuelewa huyu Mbuvi alitoka wapi, huyu Morina alitoka wapi, na siti naye. So let's have sessions where you're going to tell us about your culture. You're going to tell us about your culture. So that the next time City is holding my hand telling me, by the way, hii story iko hivi, ebu kuja, I won't take it as he's overstepping. Unaona? Nitamu understand.
Yeah.
Na nitaweza ku understand watu wanaongeanga wakigonga mtu. Hiyo ni venye wamelewa.
Yeah.
Mimi niko na mse anagonganga mtu mpaka una realize, unajua sasa hii imekuwa violence.
Yeah.
Lakini haja notice.
Yeah.
Akiona uski no
others,
si nini?
Actually others mnaangalia lakini anakugonga. So unachiki and you're like, ama akicheka anakugonga. And you're like,
no, ukiangalia huko nyuma huyo mtu alipick from somewhere. Yeah. Unaona kuna huyo relative City anasema akimshika amempata na anataka attention yake. So for the duration that I am there with you,
we will hold hands.
Nataka ku make sure tuko pamoja. Okay. Na ujaitwa na mtu mwingine. So let's embrace the different cultures we have.
Okay.
And cause even now tuko town venye City anasema, tuko na hata watu wenye si wa Kenya. Kuna wenye wametoka different countries na wamekuja hapa. Culture zao ziko aje?
All right.
So that we can be able now to live harmoniously in a ecosystem that allows everybody to thrive. Yeah.
All right. So we've come to the end of this conversation. Thank you so much. I hope parents out there you've learned. Kuna Christopher Owara anasema joined the conversation. Well, Christopher, welcome. Star Kenya amesema for 12 years I worked in the best institutions in the country, trained abroad, etc. But the culture was bad across the board. Nepotism, psychological bullying, harassment, etc. Those frameworks, LOL. Yeah, David Akera amecheka ile story ya sports bra. Kuna wadosi wanakuambianga kitu kwa ofisi. Unashangaa mtu bwana. Maureen, how do we get in touch if we need to have a conversation beyond today?
We can still have a conversation, and I can give you my number.
Yeah, I'm actually asking on behalf of the listeners.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number is 0729 254 502.
Okay.
No, sinisalimie.
No. Rudia tena.
0729 254 502. And the conversation is, we've just like really touched the nip. Yeah, we need to be able to expound on this conversation because it's affecting a lot of people.
There are offices I'm sure will need this kind of training. Where, workplaces rather, that need to talk about harassment, sexual harassment, bullying, the boundaries. Wacha kuita mabibi za wenyewe hani kwa ofisi tafadhali, mabwana za wenyewe haidia, you're calling them beyond
office husband.
Office husband, beyond office hours. Hizo tabia tuache.
Yeah.
All right. Don't go too far. Kama kawaida, tuaje sasa hivi.
The sound is fine, pump it up, turn it high, all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The body of a young man killed during the chaotic public viewing of the late former Prime Minister Raila Odinga at Kasarani Stadium has been positively identified. The victim has been named as 23-year-old Michael Okoth Okumu from Kibra. A post-mortem report reveals that Okoth died from lack of oxygen and sustained multiple head injuries. Activists visited the family, with former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko offering to cater for all funeral expenses.
Because these are human beings, they're not chicken. Awasi wanyama, awasi terrorists. Yeah, they're not demonstrating. Yeah, they're just gone there to stand in solidarity na Baba's family na ODM na.
It seems as if all the speeches that were made during Baba's funeral, they were all PR, but no one is standing with justice. So we are asking Kenyans to remember that they are on their own, that Baba is gone now, and we need to stand for ourselves.
A Ugandan High Court has dismissed a petition seeking to compel the Ugandan government to produce Kenyan activists Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo. The court dismissed a habeas corpus application seeking to compel the police to produce the two activists, adding that there was no evidence that the state had them in custody. It went on to declare Njagi and Oyo are missing. It went on to declare Njagi and Oyo are missing persons, urging the petitioners to file a missing persons report with the Ugandan police force. Meanwhile, Kenyan activists staged protests outside the Foreign Affairs Ministry building in Nairobi on Thursday, calling for action over the matter.
We are not going home. We are not relenting until Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo are released immediately by the abductors.
And we are aware that the government is complicit in all this.
Yes.
And that is why we are demanding for the immediate resignation of the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Musalia Mudavadi.
Kenya National Private Security Workers Union has condemned an incident in which a female security officer, Bertha Awor, was allegedly assaulted and locked up by a supervisor following a workplace dispute. Awor, who sustained head injuries after being hit with a club, is receiving treatment. Union Secretary General Isaac Andabwa termed the attack a case of employer exploitation and vowed to push for justice and reforms in the private security sector to prevent similar incidents.
Nilikuwa ananipiga kichwa, nilikuwa namfuata nikimwambia, madamu sininyime kazi ama unipe pesa zangu niende, kama mmenifuta kazi, kama mnitaki. Juu alikuwa ananitusi akiniambia hakuna mahali penye tunaweza tukakupeleka. Sasa nilikuwa nataka tu haki yangu, hata kama angeniambia ukujie mshahara tarehe fulani ningekujia, kuliko kunipiga, ananipiga na hiyo rungu.
Nataka nichukue nafasi kushutumu ile incident ambayo imetokea kwa huyu Bawabu na supervisor wa Makini Security. Tumekuwa mstari wa mbele kupikia debe mambo ya reform agenda katika private security.
President William Ruto has led the nation in mourning the passing of a veteran broadcaster and director of state events, Sami Lui. Lui died at his home in Subukia, Nakuru County on Thursday. In his message of condolence, President Ruto described the late Lui as a dedicated public servant, a veteran broadcaster, and a respected state master of ceremonies whose voice became part of Kenya's national identity. Lionel Messi has agreed a contract extension with Inter Miami, which will see the Argentine superstar remain in Major League Soccer until the end of 2028 season, the club confirmed on Thursday. Inter Miami's ex-feed posted a video of Messi signing a contract sitting at a table in the middle of the club's new Freedom Park Stadium. Inter Miami co-owner David Beckham said Messi's decision to extend reflected his commitment to the city, to the club, and to the game. Messi moved to Inter Miami in 2023 after an unhappy spell at PSG. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast, curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast, your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
Welcome back. This is Radio Generation. The time right now is 7 minutes past 8 o'clock. Tumeingia katika kipindi cha pili, cha tatu actually, where we want to focus on cyberbullying. We've actually left physical bullying now. We're heading on to cyberbullying, but specifically we want to focus on the laws that have been passed in the last couple of days. Specifically the controversial Computer Misuse and Cyber Crimes Amendment Act of 2025. To have this conversation, we do have Levi Kariuki Munyeri. He is a lawyer, and also joining us in studio is Kevin Mugo, a cybersecurity specialist at the Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensics Association, that is KCSFA. Wakili, I hope I've said it correctly. Nasikianga watu wakiita jina Levi. Is it Levi or Levi?
Actually, I had to go and confirm from my mother.
Really?
She told me that what she gave me was Levi, but if people want to call you Levi, well and good.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with both.
Right. A couple of years ago, I've actually called you Levi. But now, because I'm so accustomed to watching Western stuff, this name is called Levi. So, kwa akili yangu inakuanga Levi. So,
Jamaa watches movies at any given moment in time. Akipewa nafasi tu kidogo ana watch movie.
American propaganda.
Huyu.
Actually, you'd be shocked. I watch even French movies.
Of course you
Interesting.
And Russian ones.
And Koreans.
But yeah, majority, and yeah, you're very right. Koreans as well. And lately I've started having a deep interest in Chinese movies.
Indian,
not as much, no.
You should. They are
The
fun.
last Indian movie I watched was called Bahubali. I don't know if anyone of you has watched Bahubali.
No,
And then
not
watch it.
all.
Yeah, I used to when
It's
I was a
nice
young man.
action.
There was a character I liked called Dara Singh.
Mm.
Yes, after that I stopped. But it's the music that I liked.
Sure. Half of it is music, actually.
Yes, yeah.
Is there anything like African movies?
Yes!
What do you mean? Kenya has several movies on Netflix. Nigeria has several movies on Netflix.
Oh, Nigeria has not several.
Yeah.
Tons. It's an entire
Yeah,
industry.
yeah. We have Showmax
interesting.
and in YouTube you'll find the whole catalog of Nigerian movies and other African countries,
Which
of
are
course.
popular, I hope.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, very
Start
popular.
watching
Very
them.
popular.
Start watching them.
Very popular. So
At my free time.
ongea na mimi nitakupatia list ya zile movies utaenda kuwatch.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about cyber crimes, and I'll start with you, Mr. Mugo. Maybe tell us a bit about the Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensics Association.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure meeting all of you.
Karibu.
Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensics Association is a body registered legally under the Kenyan laws. That's now the laws of the land. And mainly what it does is that it assists in combating common problems that affect people from one, the corporate sector, and then secondly, there is also the social aspect of life, the normal mama mboga, the normal mkulima somewhere, and the rest, because we are all traversing at a very sharp rate in the digital age, and the technological advancements that are coming up are coming at a very huge pace. And now the challenge is, how do we ensure that there is security for everyone and no one is left behind? So what we majorly do, we have professionals from different bodies, from one, the government, and also two, the corporate or the private parastatals, whereby we come together with each one of them with something that you can bring to the table, so that we can be able to now work together to now solve the common problems that are there. And what we majorly do also is to provide also mentorship for the forthcoming generations, because you'll always need someone to hold your hand, because a lot of people are passionate.
True.
But the road is now where do I start from? So that's what we usually do, and we've had very successful forums and very successful partnerships for several years so far. I think since 2015, and I think we're almost hitting the 10-year mark, and we'll be able to even do more as time goes on. So
Yeah.
that's what we do in summary.
Okay, good stuff. Oh, that was a summary.
Yeah.
That was very comprehensive.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for that.
Yes.
So there's this whole issue of the controversial Cybercrimes Act, Levi, and a lot of people. There's a lot that is going around, and to some extent, I actually feel like I don't even understand what this Cybercrimes Act is all about. Are you able to break it down a bit for us so that we can have some palatable granules?
Definitely. Thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be here. It is indeed a very technical legal issue, and I've seen a lot of misreporting and misrepresentation on social media and even on mainstream media. This is the issue. There is a Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act of 2015, a law that was enacted in 2015, which was actually challenged in court, but the petitioners failed to challenge it successfully at the High Court, and the matter is pending before the Court of Appeal. So what happened last year, Parliament passed a law that is called the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Act. The purpose of the act is actually to amend the Cybercrimes Act of 2015. So you distinguish to that extent that most of the provisions that are actually including the penalty of 20 million is not in the Amendment Act that was enacted recently. It's actually in the 2015 law, which is enforceable as of now.
Okay, just a second. So there's one you've mentioned that is in the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
Before the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
That's the 2015 one.
Yes.
And the 2015 one.
It's 2018.
2018.
Sorry.
Okay. So the 2018 one is the
Yes.
one that is before the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
But it's still being enforced.
Yes.
So that means if right now, if according to that law, I contravene it, I am paying 20 million.
Yes. So that is the issue.
Hold it. So the law was enacted.
Yes.
Someone has taken the matter to court.
Yes.
Since the court hasn't come to a determination, in essence, the law is in force.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Yes.
Because originally, the law was, it was, let's call it, activated in the most simple way in 2018. After that, it has been there. And then now on October 15th, that's October of this month, that's when the signature of the amendment came forth through the president, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and through that there were clear issues that were outlined, and then now from there, that's when we now had the court issues coming up, and that's when these wrangles started coming up. I think we'll outline what was happening in between along the way, but majorly it was tied to now what the powers of various parties can be able to do vis-a-vis what was there initially, and also in other laws that are directly connected to it.
So in essence, you're telling us
Yes.
that what we are talking about is an amendment to the bill.
Exactly.
That
An
is what the
amendment.
president signed
Yes.
on.
So here there are no two bills or two acts.
No. There's the original, and then now
The act is a 2015 act.
2018
act.
Yes.
Now the amendment is what the president apparently appended his signature to around the same time that Raila Odinga had passed away.
Exactly.
That one.
Exactly.
I'm giving it context.
Exactly.
Okay, so.
Yes.
So this is the same thing, Wakili.
So actually, legally, what it means, there's something we call a Mother Act. So the Mother Act is the 2018 Act, which is substantive. So what is happening currently, it is only an amendment act, in the sense that the Amendment Act seeks to amend the Mother and Substantive Act, which is the 2018 one.
So what is being amended?
So that is the question, and that's why we are in court. I'm one of the petitioners who have gone to court, and I've seen some commentary about it. It is very narrow. What has actually happened, there are several provisions and amendments that have been recommended. What has been challenged in court so far, and conservatory orders have been issued in the petition by LSK and Ruben Kigame, is a single amendment, which is an amendment to actually section 27. The amendment is under section 27 of the Amendment Act, that amends the main act by introducing a single 4 words, which actually states that it's a whole paragraph. Maybe you can allow me to
Please,
read it.
By all
we
means,
have all
read
the
it.
time.
Yes,
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 yes.
because we
Good,
want to
good.
understand this.
It's a very technical issue in law,
Isome tu alafu
and it's
tuambie
good
vizuri.
that we understand it properly. So trying to break it down in an easy way to understand, this is how the act read under the main act. It's called Cap 79C.
This is now under the 2018 one.
Yes.
What does it read?
It is a criminal offense for a person if a person communicates either directly or indirectly with another person or anyone known to that person, and they know or ought to know that it causes them apprehension of fear or violence to them, or damage or loss on that person, or detrimentally affects that person in whole or part of an indecent or grossly offensive nature and affects the person. It's a legalistic, but what simply saying, and that's the reason why the matter has actually been challenged in court.
Yes.
And it's pending before the Court of Appeal.
Right.
It is simply saying any communication that is likely to cause apprehension of fear of violence on another person, it's illegal.
So for the listener to understand,
yes,
give me an example between me and Mugo. If I do what to Mugo, if I tell Mugo what? Yeah.
So actually that's the issue that is in court. There is a provision or a rule that when you are framing criminal offenses, you should be very specific on what exactly do you want to criminalize. So when you talk about apprehension of fear, it is a very wide term, because myself, I don't know what your phobias are.
Okay.
So it actually uncovers almost everything. If I become critical of the government, and there is no secret that these laws are made vague, in essence to actually get any person who is critical of government,
I mean, that's
and
the
charge
nuance.
them.
Yeah.
And you remember the penalty is 20 million or imprisonment for 10 years. Very draconian.
Okay.
Or both for such an offense. So you are right in that sense that your guess is as good as mine. I also don't know. It is anything that causes someone fear or apprehension. So it is a very vague law that essentially cannot pass the constitutional test.
But so if I tell Mugo, for example, nitakuchapa, and then he's afraid,
so the court will have to interpret. That means they can charge you. You know what happens when you're enacting laws? How the government does in such a very crude manner is you make the law so open.
Yes.
So any person who talks anything that annoys you or causes the government or any government person to have apprehension of fear,
yes,
then you are charged. Then the court will take now that opportunity to try to interpret what that fear and apprehension is. Just before I lose sight, now let me go to the amendment that was enacted recently when we were mourning Baba.
Yes.
May his soul rest in peace. The amendment only adds a 4-word sentence. When it comes to a person or detrimentally affects, it adds a word or is likely to cause that person to commit suicide. So actually that's the only thing that has been challenged in court currently, and that's the only thing that the court has issued conservatory orders, or is likely to cause someone to commit suicide. Another very vague term. First, it's not committing suicide, it's likely to cause. So if I criticize you and tell you are very corrupt, or I tell a son your dad is very corrupt, it is likely to cause that son to commit suicide. If he comes and says, I almost committed suicide,
almost ran in front of
a truck, I was so distressed. So they are actually expanding the scope of that law to make any kind of speech, either online or offline or even media, essentially illegal and criminal to that sense, and attracting a fine of 20 million, imprisonment of 10 years, or both.
So, like for example, Mugo, let me ask you: during Maandamano, we saw people making pictures of political leaders in certain, like for example, in a coffin, others in a compromising situation, for instance.
Yes.
So, if I do that, the person that I have made that caricature of, and they feel like they wanted to commit suicide, I am done for.
Yeah, you can also fit into that context very well. But now, even though the scope has been expanded, I think first of all it would be very great for people to understand the original 2018 bill. Okay, and then now we contextualize it based on now what it was put forth. The first thing is that the first part is based on computer security. Like now one of the main objectives, and in for everything that you do, regardless of the field that you are in, whether in medical, whether in IT, whether in sales or things of the such, there are principles, and the main principle that governs the formation or one of the key objectives of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act of 2018 is the CIA triad. The CIA triad represents an acronym that means confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So in the confidentiality aspect, it means that everything that is supposed to be only accessed by authorized persons, it's only accessed by the people who are supposed to. Do you have the authority? Yes, I do. Don't you have it? No, I don't. So why did you access it? You will fall prey under the fines in the law. On the integrity ties to the truthfulness. That's just like we have the Integrity Center and what they do. EACC, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the rest. Ethics is also very important. And now once we've distorted the truthfulness, or even maybe the evidence that is saying you've threatened me, but no, I did not. It's like the way you would maybe edit a WhatsApp message. If maybe there's usually that edited aspect, that edited text down there. So if I edit it and then it's an evidence that is it's given in the court of law.
Right.
What is it that I can do to prove or to give the original version that was not edited?
So someone can argue and say the original message is the one that...
Yes, this was not the or even this is a photoshopped kind of. And then now, that's now what is directly connected to now one of the items that was added with regard to now the identity theft, whereby if it was your account, and that's another term that was added in the amendment. That's a definition of a virtual account. It means that if there is anything that can solidly connect me to maybe threats or such suicide amendments that have been made, anything that uniquely identifies me, I'll be the one who will be liable.
Okay.
And that liability is what we call in other sections of the acts as non-repudiation. So it means it was your account that was used. Yes. So you are the one who will be liable.
Even if I had no idea it's being used?
No. It's the way you'd say ignorance is not an...
What you're saying is what was the letter of this particular act? What was the spirit? What is it that the act was seeking to achieve?
The act has a lot of things that it was intending to achieve, and beside that, there is the aspect of critical information infrastructure, what I think was called CIIs in the country. It's like the way you would have your whole body. You would need the stomach to digest food as much as you'd need the legs to go and do work to get that food. So what I'm trying to say is that each and every field, for example in finance, in health, in banking, and in all these items, there are critical infrastructures very important to the core or the backbone of the country. For example, M-Pesa. In the last session or in the financial years, from their records, they are able to state that they had a total of 21 billion transactions. So that ties to around slightly less than 2 billion transactions per month. So that's an example of a critical infrastructure, and a total of around 39.5 trillion. So once these critical infrastructures are identified, it is through now the NC4. That's a body laid under still this act. Something that people need to also take time to understand. Who is NC4? That's the National Computer and Cybercrime Corporation. National Computer and Cybercrime Corporation that mainly assists in now protecting of this critical infrastructure and also now measuring the risks vis-a-vis the security measures that they have been able to.
This is a government body.
Yes, a very powerful legal body.
Yeah.
Of which
Where does it sit?
it's an first of all, it's an independent body, just like we have the IEBC, just like we have the ODPC. That's also another one. We'll get
Yeah.
back to it shortly.
Auditor General.
So you're saying
Yes.
it's an independent constitutional office.
Body.
But it's not constitutional.
It was formed under the
the
Computer
Act.
Misuse
Yes.
and Cybercrime Act.
Okay.
So
That's
it
where
was a
that's the
statutory body.
original origin of that.
So you're saying that particular body, as it's currently constituted,
Yes.
is not constitutional.
No, what I'm saying is that there are bodies that are established under the constitution, like he has given ESCC,
IEBC.
IEBC. Those are constitutional bodies. What he's actually citing is a body that is established under the 2018 law. And as he has correctly said, it's a very powerful body because it actually even reports to the National Security Council. That is very powerful. And there is a reason to that. And I've read actually the petition challenging it at the High Court that failed and now at the Court of Appeal. One of the things that they're arguing is that that's why I'll depart with my brother here, in the sense that the government wants to portray this law as very important, which is important. There are new forms of crimes that are coming up that require some level of new legislation. But there is an important question that Muga asked, and the question is, what is the spirit and letter of this law? A spirit and letter of a law is actually cited. We always call it a long title when you are enacting a law. Like for this 2018 act, it talks about an act of parliament to provide for offences relating to computer systems to enable timely and effective detection, prohibition, prevention, response, investigation and prosecution of computer and cyber crimes, to facilitate international cooperation in dealing with computer and cyber crime matters and for connected purposes. So that's where the challenge comes as constitutional lawyers, because I'll also note that some of these offenses are actually in other laws. The penal code has electronic offenses that people have been charged, because some of these things have not started happening now. Something like M-Pesa fraud started when M-Pesa came. So there have been some other laws where these people are being charged. But now, which is correctly so, they need now to specify the laws so that it's even easier for the prosecution to prove it. But this is where the mischief comes. The government is taking advantage of such necessity to now sneak in laws that are specifically meant to target dissenting voices, especially online. So that's where the constitutionality of this matter is under challenge. One, as we've noted, is that they are framing these things on a very broad way. Something like M-Pesa, if you want to curtail money transfer fraud, just use the word money transfer fraud. Then you start using likely to cause someone to commit suicide. So if someone steals your M-Pesa and you feel like you want to commit suicide, you are charged under that law. If someone insults a politician, he wants to commit suicide, you are charged under that law.
So basically, Levi, what you're saying is that this law, it's like a song that is not rhyming.
Yes, true.
It's not making sense.
It is mischievous.
Yeah.
And why is it mischievous? Is because the government of the day, actually every law, I've even seen when they're enacting banking laws, they want to introduce an aspect that favors them in terms of politicizing an act.
There's something you've said in the previous statement that there is there's a law that already exists in another article or something.
Yes.
Or another act.
Sure.
What was it again?
There's the penal code, perhaps is more conversant with those laws. There is another communication law. Maybe he can address them. I don't have them on my fingertip.
Directly connected to that,
Yes.
we have articles 31, 32, 31, 33, 34, 35 and 36 of the Constitution that are, if I would say, if the act is amended, they would slightly go against that kind of amendment, because now back to now the NC4, the organization that I was now talking about, we said that it was governed, it is a 10 persons body, if I would put it that way, from people from organizations such as the Communication Authority, NIS, DCI.
It has several commissioners.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a multi-agency.
Okay.
So there is also the PS for Interior Security. There is the PS for ICT. There is the Attorney General. There is also the Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces.
Hey.
Yes,
You can see the,
it's a
the
very
strength of it.
it's a very powerful organization.
Yeah.
Along with that, there is also the Director of Public Prosecution.
Hata yeye ako hapo.
Yes.
Kwa ufupi, who isn't there?
Actually, to shock you, things like the Gen Z protest and the abductions, the only logical explanation of how they could trace people, like I remember at some point people showed up at my house, luckily I was not there. It is traced on this body.
This is the body that was
there is
tracking
someone,
people.
Safaricom is there, and representative from communication authorities.
Hold on.
NIS is there.
Hold on. You want to tell me the telcos are also represented in
Yes,
this?
yes. So it is somewhere people can sit on a table and agree to trace someone to his doorstep.
The other side of the coin, let's also not forget that the government is also a major shareholder of these telecos. That's also something we need to also remember, because to some, for example, to an extent of even 25%. So if I'm a shareholder, it means that at any time I would ask, give me the data for so and so.
No, but the law is very clear. The law is very clear to give data, especially location of someone, is actually prohibited by law. And there's a case where that matter has come to the fore. I think it's the case for, which one was it? Is the gentleman who posted an image of the president in a coffin. So that matter has come to the fore, where a policeman actually came and confessed. Because if you are to be traced using your, mobile phone connection, you need a person, a police officer, to go to court and get a court order. That was not done, and the police officer actually admitted. So what we are waiting as lawyers, as soon as that trial ends, we are going to file a constitutional petition on behalf of that gentleman, arguing that the state violated his rights to privacy by tracing him.
When the police service or the individual within the police service goes to court, what exactly are they asking the court to do for them?
It's an ex parte application. You call them miscellaneous application, where you show cause. And that's the essence, that you need to explain, why do you really want to get this person? Has he stolen? Has he done this? And the court now will have a chance to interrogate the merits of that application and affidavit and say, indeed, there is sufficient cause
for us to
trace and track this
in
person.
law, when you say miscellaneous, does it mean the same things as it does when you use the word miscellaneous in everyday discussions?
No.
Or in maybe budgets.
In law, in law, miscellaneous.
What does miscellaneous mean?
It actually means that this application is more or less random. It is not anchored, because there is a notice of motion application, there is a chamber summon application. So it's a technical word in law that means a random application, in the sense that it's not tied. It's not tied on any law.
Levi, before I forget what I wanted to ask.
Yes.
What are the reasons why anyone should be or can be traced or tracked?
There are very valid reasons.
Okay.
If you steal, if you rob a bank, or if I murder someone, God forbid, then there is a valid cause in law for me to be tracked for purposes of arrest and being charged for murder.
So until the point whereby the police can determine we can't find a movie, they shouldn't track me or trace me.
Never. It's unconstitutional.
Is there a statute of limitation as to if I can sue the state or
No.
someone?
Bring it on.
So
give me instructions.
Is someone who nitronge your kando?
So the other side to it, or something that's still under the same act, and that's why I'm putting a lot of emphasis on Kenyans to study the original 2018 act, is the fact that in the same act it governs about to what extent you can be able to, if a police would want to arrest me or come and start to investigate this phone, I can refuse to give it to the police because you don't have a warrant.
A warrant is a must.
It's a must.
It is a must.
Compulsory. And if it would be taken out of my custody, used as evidence in the court of law, there's one perspective, and then I get to the second. If it's used as evidence and there was no warrant tied to it, that evidence
this
can
warrant
be
is
null
what you
and
call a
void.
court order.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's essentially a search warrant.
Yeah, a search warrant.
To search
That
your phone for information.
I would want to search your phone with regard to case ABC, and here is our. So if you do not have it, that evidence can be considered as null and void. The second perspective, and I believe it was a mistake that was always being done before such technological advancements would come up, is the fact that you would still take this phone and start searching it manually. That is a wrong procedure.
Yeah.
Because number one, there is something we call a forensic image of this device. What it would mean is that I would need, if I'm the investigating officer, I will need to create an exact replica, not copy paste.
Okay.
Because the moment I copy a file from location A to location B, it will have already tampered with something we call metadata. Okay, and in the tampering of metadata, we will not be able to justify that this file was gotten in 2023, but it was gotten at the time that investigator was copying.
Kevin, what is metadata?
Metadata is information about a file. For example, you'd create a Word document right now, say, I am in radio generation, save it, and then it will store the data with regard to the time that you created it. So those details, for example, the time, the day,
computer device
the location,
that
the
created
device, who created it, and things of the such. The moment the investigator would copy paste it, that's already evidence that is tampered with, and it would not be justifiable in the court of law. So the best thing is for the investigating officer to gather a forensic, to get the search warrant. Number two, to get another document we call a chain of custody that would say that I as the investigating officer received this evidence this day and time for this purpose, and this is what I did with the evidence. After that, I gave it to investigating officer B at this date and time for this purpose, and the cycle continues until the case is finished within the court of law. And in that forensic image, what happens is that there is a unique code that is there. So the moment I would just unlock this phone, or maybe something as minor as opening a file, the whole value would change. So as much as possible as the number that was recorded in the initial phase from investigative officer A and to the last one, maybe F, and they do not match, that evidence is still null and void, because we don't know what would have happened in between. Because you've seen cases whereby investigative bodies are not maybe substantially named, okay, but what had happened is that the phone was being used to ask for money while still the same device was
in custody.
Exactly.
But it is a matter in public. It is the case of the officers that have been arrested currently and hiyo ni story tutaongea. But there's a question here.
Yes.
And it's in regards to what you just mentioned. We know how things happen in this country. Sometimes when police come to arrest you, they don't come politely.
Yes.
Wanakuja wanasikanga tumuko lala chini, unakula kofi mbili, leta hiyo simu, inachukuliwa. Leta hiyo laptop. They have not presented a warrant of arrest.
Very true.
They've not presented a search warrant. They didn't ask me politely to get into my car, for example. They just come, grab, wapi funguo ya gari? By the time you're like, coffee ushakulwa, funguo za gari zimechukuliwa. There's an officer already in your bedroom doing God knows what, getting evidence that they have been set, or even planting evidence.
Sure.
In such a situation, and then I've been bundled into a car, the Subaru, of course, nimejipata niko hapa Central na ngoja kupelekwa sasa kotini.
Yes.
By the time all these things are presented, chances are on the day of my arraignment, they will produce a search warrant, they will produce an arrest warrant, things they never showed me, they never even asked me.
Very true.
But those things will be presented there. So how do I protect myself against that? They've already tampered with my phone. They've already tampered with my laptops.
Yes.
How do I deal with that situation?
Actually,
it goes back to what I mentioned.
Yeah.
They number one need to have a chain of custody of the evidence they gathered. That's why I'm taking the context of this phone, because it's the most common ABC that everyone has. So the moment you don't have a chain of custody for this phone, who had it from the point you came to my home to the minute that we are in court,
hizo vitu zitaandikwa kwa station huko bila mimi kujua, na sita by the time maybe hata nimengoloa jina tayari, mguu wangu imevunjika. Liver, you want to say something?
Yes, it's critical. This is now more of it's a legal solution. There are two aspects when it comes to dealing with illegal evidence. One he has mentioned, you can seek on trial to challenge that evidence so that it can be expunged from your case. The second one is even more potent because any such action, as you've said, it's a violation of your privacy. It's a violation of your right to human dignity. There is a whole cocktail of rights that have been violated. So the potent remedy in law is essentially, and I've seen people doing it. I remember there's a colleague of mine who was on traffic and saw some cop arresting someone illegally. He actually left his car, went, and he was also arrested. He filed a case against the Kenya National Police. This is a constitutional petition where you challenge that your rights have been violated and you're entitled actually to a compensation for that, and I think he was compensated 3 million or something.
The lawyer or the person who was
lawyer. I don't know what happened to the person, but what we're encouraging, it's an issue of you can't be assisted if you don't approach the court. Some of these small things you suffer, like even some of the arrests we see when someone comes to search. I've seen it's very common. You can actually search someone without a warrant when there is a reason to believe that there is commission of an offense that can happen with some level of immediacy. So if you find someone with a gun and that person might be going to shoot someone, as a cop you don't need a warrant. But there are circumstances. I remember when I was in a comrade in university, it was very common. You are sat somewhere, you are having a drink, a policeman comes and says, "Why are you drinking?" And he says, search these people. And then they get bangi. So and they'll now go and charge you for bangi.
Of course, and not for
or even not planted. Comrades saa zingine wako na maneno kidogo.
Okay.
But even if they get that bangi and what they were looking for was a weapon, then there is a constitutional cause that search and acquisition of bangi is illegal to the extent that was not the intention of the search. So these things I encourage people get lawyers and take them to court. They might look normal, but if you go to court and prove what you are saying, you'll be awarded a few millions.
So are we saying that if the cops had come to this studio looking for weapons, and they search the four of us, but in the process of searching they find the bangi, we are free to go?
You actually it's an argument, but the argument often should lean towards that search was illegal because they are not looking for bangi, they are looking for guns.
Okay.
So there is an element of illegality of that search that can be arguable in court to argue that actually that evidence was illegally obtained and therefore it should not be searched of it. It's an argument, let me say that. So the constitutional petition is the remedy. If your right is violated even for an hour, go and file a constitutional petition and you are likely to win.
But you see, there always seems to be a bit of a wall where this discussion is concerned. Do members of the police service understand that we have these rights?
Do members of what?
Police service. Do they know? They know that we have. Do they know that we have this right?
Unajaribu nini?
Unajaribu nini? Unasema nini? Mimi nitafute warrant na nimekuona na bangi.
You ask a very fundamental question. Unajibu officer.
So let me just maybe answer before my colleague responds. That's one of the things. When the issue of judicial reform started with the new constitution, there was also something we call police reforms. And that's a fundamental question in the sense that if you don't train people and you don't change the mentality of the law enforcers, then some of these problems will persist. And they are harass street families. You don't expect a street family to get a lawyer and sue them in court. So the whole argument of Kiganjo training, that up to now our police are still receiving colonial training. I know of various training that NGOs, government agencies have started to try to retrain the police, but I still find it problematic because the original training ya Kiganjo iko na shida. Hata ukuje waambiwe kizungu mingi kwa boardroom halls juu nafanya hivi, if you are first mentality when you are joining the force is fairly problematic. There is a problem. So
that curriculum has not been changed.
it has not been changed, interestingly. Fundamentally, no.
So if it hasn't been changed, then it means we are fighting a losing battle.
Yes, and there's a reason why it has not been changed, because the state still considers the police as an important tool of oppression. So that's why we talk about the spirit constitutionalism, that we have a new constitution, but some of our institutions and the government are stuck in the old constitutional order.
Is it the government? Is it the arms of government, or is it the Kenyan citizen who presents himself as a political leader? Because everything in this country revolves around politics.
Sure.
And the political leadership.
Now, the context where we come in as the Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensics Association, and if you remember the words I mentioned as I had started my introduction, is that we are trying to transform everyone regardless of the sector that you are in. An instance, I think we have already discussed that, about the NC4, okay, under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act. At the moment, we are in a discussion with them to identify such and more challenges, whether police reforms, whether operations with regards to the law, whether operations with regards to the cybersecurity, cyber threat intelligence, investigations, and the rest, in the posture of now the solving and the transformation of the country to fit in the digital economy, and also with the many years to come in advancements in technology. What we are trying to do is to bring them on board, and that's a conversation that we have been having, especially with the NC4 when it now comes to the reforming of such challenges. So yes, it might not be a one-day process, but there's something that is happening in the background, and it has been a good journey so far, especially now under the secretariat or the leadership of the association, whereby we've been able to even have joint meetings with them, have partnerships with them, carry out even breakfasts and conferences with regard to now creating an impact and also trying to solve the problems that we are discussing on this round table.
Let me ask this question.
Sure.
When you have such discussions, I'm certain that even when you look at issues, there's an element of prioritization as to the issues you're looking at.
Very true.
What are the fundamental priorities that you are looking into? I'm hoping that these fundamentals are the building blocks that the change you're speaking of will be built upon.
Very good question. So the foundation or the most paramount issues we are looking at is the cybersecurity posture of the country. That's the first thing, because of the very sharp and high increase in digital crime, and also internal, either amongst the in the corporate level, the government level, and also amongst the common mwananchi. That's the first thing. The second thing is now the reforming with regard to now the training. Even we had a meeting with the Teacher Service Commission, that's some days ago, and we're also trying to create the same impact along with them. So at the moment, the biggest success rate that we've been able to achieve is especially with the youth. Okay, because recently we had a forum that was talking about misinformation and disinformation, especially now because majority of the people with the online power are the youth, or the so-called Gen Zs. So what we are trying to do is now create that impact and teach them, hey, do not be posting false information. How can you differentiate true and false information? What do you do to handle it? Do you react? Do you repost? Do you offend? Do you say and things of the such? So a lot needs to be done, and the good thing is that we have working groups, and so in these working groups, each working group has a leader, and each of the working groups, there's a problem that is being solved, either with regards to innovation, user awareness training, or even problems that the common mwananchi and even maybe the government is trying to solve, or in the niche that is being targeted as a major issue that needs to be resolved in the soonest time possible.
Why did you talk with the Teachers Service Commission? Why have you had conversations with the Teachers Service Commission?
So these conversations, and it's something that I've always seen working, we've seen the transition of now the CBC and such curriculums. So one thing is, these are children who have mobile phones. You understand? So these are children who have internet access. So how do we manage or assist in governing from the home level through the training of trainers, through the teachers, to both the learners and the parents with regards to cyber safety, and to build that ecosystem so that the country can be able to now get into a better position in the future years.
Have you had conversation with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development? I'll tell you why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
If we teach these things as part and parcel, because we're in the information age and it's not going anywhere, it's only going to become more complex with time. So we need to prepare young Kenyans so that they're in tandem with the rest of the world in understanding these things.
Yeah.
Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development are the ones who are tasked with determining the curriculums that are taught in our schools. If somebody is going to be a police man or woman, and the curriculum in Kiganjo does not, yes, you see where I'm going with this, does not encompass what it is. If you teach this child or this Kenyan at a very early stage, they will know.
Yeah.
Even if you go to Kiganjo, the training will be running interference with knowledge that they already have.
Yes.
So they will be perhaps favorably disposed towards some of the positivity that you're speaking of,
yes,
as opposed to letting what is in that curriculum be the dominant force when it comes to their thinking.
Very true. And with regards to that also, but what you've done beside now approaching KICD, we were recently accredited for having an institute that would now facilitate the training of such items, and it had already kicked off, and trainings have always been in progress. There is a good team of trainers, and it's targeting people from all domains, because regardless of whatever you do in your field, you'll always have a technological utilization that you'll be needing to maneuver through or with each and every day.
You know where I'm heading with my discussion here?
Yes.
Is I don't know whether you can teach patriotism, but you know I'm
Actually,
asking,
you can.
Yes.
If you can teach hatred, you can teach patriotism.
I know hatred. Did you really teach it? When people imbue knowledge, they learn from the examples of others. Yes, you could call it teaching. Same with patriotism. If we were to talk about the Kenyan way of doing things or the patriotism, what would it look like? How would we represent patriotism in this country?
Patriotism is an act of fighting for your country, or to stand with it through, or like to defend your country passionately. You get it?
Then we are just about the most unpatriotic people on the globe.
That's a very interesting question, and it comes back when you talk about patriotism, which essentially is love for your country. If I interpret it in a legal sense, I'll use the word constitutionalism. That for a constitutional order to work, we should believe in that constitution. And
do we?
It is a work in progress, unfortunately, and that's why we keep telling our people, when you go to the ballot, think before you vote. One of the biggest contributory factors to the challenges we're having even with constitutionalism is the government that we voted in. It does not promote constitutionalism. Actually, it fights the belief in the constitution.
I don't believe the government is the problem.
The people are the problem, because they are the ones who elect
yes, exactly.
the
I
government.
mean, does the government vote itself in? The answer is no, they do not.
Muga, I'm on record. I vied for MP in Mokoroine in elections in 2022.
What did the wonderful citizens of Mukureni think of your candidate?
And if you had my famous quote after that election, the intellectual margin between myself and the voters was too wide to enable the meeting of the minds.
The problem is not the voter there, it's you.
No,
with your intellectual might, you should have been able to bring your intellectualism to a point where it's common fodder, so everybody can understand.
I am not interested. When you go to politics,
then don't vie for public
office. You
office.
become a crook. I vied for public office,
yes,
to show people who an ideal candidate is, who an ideal candidate is, who is an ideal candidate in an election, because the people who present themselves on the ballot are crooks. That has been the challenge we are having.
I like your mind.
I don't scoop too low to be with the people. I don't.
You have a good mind.
Yes.
You have an excellent legal mind.
Great.
You need to get a political mind. There's a reason why I'm saying this. I'm not saying be a crook. These people who you went to have a very clear idea of the sort of leaders they want. Okay?
And it's mistaken. Very mistaken.
Actually, it is not mistaken. The citizens of this country vote in all these ne'er-do-wells that we have in parliament for the simple reason, not that there are no alternatives. It is because many of our voters find themselves in a fairly helpless situation. You see, it's a journey that you must take them through. What you're trying to do is correct. It's absolutely correct, and more people should do it. But you must understand how you do it so that it communicates what you want.
I'm not a therapist, Muga, to go and cure stupidity of the people.
You kitu utapata.
I'll never get, but I'll continue vying, and I'm going to vie again. What Kenyans lack is an understanding that when you are going to the ballot, vote for someone whose ideals will go and assist you. Let me give you just a minute. I give you a background about the President of the Republic of Kenya. The President of the Republic of Kenya was actually indicted and charged of crimes against humanity.
Two presidents.
Two.
Yeah.
So someone is charged with crimes against humanity at The Hague, the highest and the worst crimes known to humanity. This person was charged in a Nairobi court for land grabbing of land belonging to the pipeline, Kenya pipeline. This person becomes a president. He becomes a president. The government starts murdering young people en masse in the streets. Then you get shocked. When you are voting for a person who has been charged for crimes against humanity, what were you thinking? And you think Kenyan voters are intelligent?
Yes,
or they want something?
Yes, they are.
So why are they crying now? Why are they going to the streets? Yet the person who they voted for presented his character well to them, and they clapped, cheered, they were bribed, went to the ballot, voted for him. A month after voting for him, they are crying. It is the peak of stupidity. There's no better word for that.
Why?
The voice of the people has become the voice of stupidity. And we'll have to change.
I think the context of this discussion was there.
No, we derail sometimes because we can talk a lot of cyber crimes,
yes,
but the problem is beyond cyber crimes.
Do you know why this discussion is important?
It's very important.
Very.
And the reason why we are allowing it to go the direction it's going is because of this. These laws apply to human beings.
Very true.
These human beings are in Kenya. Our politics determines the direction that we go as a nation.
Completely, everything, every aspect
so even
of life.
these laws that we are talking about, this particular law and the pain points, if our politics wasn't involved, we would not be discussing this law.
And this law, Kevin, you can talk, and I've seen you've mastered it. I'm very glad. I wish you more go to place and explain to people. It's very good to master the
That's
law.
what he's doing here.
But there is, which is doing very early.
Yes.
But there is a challenge, and that's the challenge why we've gone to court. The person who is making these laws is not a genuine person who wants to curtail cyber crimes in Kenya. If this person was genuine, he's coming to make laws to curtail cyber crimes in Kenya, we could not be in court. This person, let me read for you a section, one of the, now returning to the court discussion, and dovetailing with what we are talking, one of the biggest issues that we have with the amendment, there are actually two major issues with the amendment. One we've spoken about, that is introducing the issue of likely to commit suicide. Another aspect of it is something that I've introduced that is very dangerous. It touches on the right of the government to actually delete. It is under section 3.
Okay.
Section 6 of the Principal Act, which is the Cyber Crimes Act of 2018. It talks about where it is proven that a website application promotes unlawful activity, inappropriate sexual content, terrorism, religious extremism, cultism. The government can issue an order to deactivate or make the website or application inaccessible.
So that means bloggers who write stuff.
Yes, they block you. And you know, the issue is that there is no court supervision. Ideally, in other countries, for such a blog to be blocked, the thing we are talking about, miscellaneous application, such an application would go to court, fair administrative action, which is a constitutional right. You'll be given a chance to defend yourself before you are Twitter account or X account is blocked. Here the powers have been given directly to state agencies.
Wanazima tu.
Wanazima. And then see, just Kevin for a minute, see the things they are talking about. Terrorism, very good things. Terrorism, cultism, religion extremism, things that are very good. We all got sad with what happened to Shakahola, but that's not the intention of the lawmaker. The intention of the lawmaker, nikianza kupinga serikali, they flood my website with pornographic things and block it.
You know what?
Just a minute.
We need to take a break.
We're coming back.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we need to take a break.
Wow.
When we return, tunaanzia hapo.
Okay, sure.
Radio generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The Kenya Medical Association has expressed growing concern over the ongoing doctors' strike in Kiambu County, which has now extended into its 150th day. The association warns that the prolonged industrial action is putting lives at risk, slowing progress in critical health areas, and eroding public confidence in the country's healthcare system. KMA highlighted that the strike denies residents their constitutional rights to access the highest standard of health as provided in Article 43(1)(a) of the Constitution of Kenya. Schools in the country need to find effective ways to address bullying to ensure a safe environment for children. HR consultant Maureen Mutia explains that bullies often target weaker individuals, including quiet children within the school population. She adds that most bullies are driven by a desire to show dominance. Mutia was speaking on Radio Generation today.
I think that structured one, those days, molded us to who we are today.
Yes.
But what we are talking about is the aggression that is there. And the bullying that is there is either physical or mental, because some of them will post things on social media to discredit you or to embarrass you, and kids will be out there laughing at you. You're walking, people are saying, "Oh, that's the movie," you know. And as City said, you'd always find a bully is the person who wants to show dominance.
Yeah.
And they'll always pick somebody who's weak, who's not their peer.
They can't pick a strong person.
They can't pick a small person because they're a strong person, because they know the minute they pick a strong person, they'll be beaten thoroughly. And they'll be put to their place. So they'll go look for somebody where they know they can exercise that. Sometimes even it's the quiet child or the calm one in the institution and those kind of things.
The long-awaited public inquest into September 2024 Hillside Endarasha Academy fire tragedy has been postponed to November 20th, 2025. This is after the DCI failed to present its report to the Nyeri court. Parents of the 21 boys who died in the dormitory fire arrived in court on Thursday morning, expecting proceedings to begin, only to learn that the DCI had not submitted its investigation file. The delay forced the magistrate to defer the start of the inquest.
So today we had come to court for the purposes of the inquest into the Hillside Endarasha Academy fire tragedy. So we have been informed that the resident prosecutor was not available today, that the resident prosecutor was indisposed. Equally, that the police file was not brought to court, so the matter was not able to proceed today. Today we came to register our presence in court and to be made part of the proceedings in the inquest, because funny enough, the victims' parents, the victims' families have not been informed of the proceedings.
U.S. President Donald Trump has said he is immediately ending all trade negotiations with Canada. In a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote that the country had run an advert featuring former US President Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. The US president has imposed a 35% levy on Canadian imports, although he has allowed exemptions for goods that fall under the USMCA, a true trade agreement with Mexico and Canada that Trump negotiated during his first term. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The people's breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Welcome back. This is Radio Generation. The time right now is 6 minutes past 9 o'clock, and we are having that conversation about the controversial Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Act of 2025. We have Levi Kayoki Munyeri. He is a lawyer and currently in court over this very Cyber Act thingy. Then I'm calling it thingy. Then we have Kevin Mugo, cybersecurity specialist at the Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensics Association. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Thank you.
Kuna mali nimekukata, ulikuwa unataka kuleta a very important point.
Yes.
Nafasi ni yako.
Asante sana. So the main context of this discussion was for us or for the public to understand what was there and what is being modified. That was the very critical thing. And then from there we now try to tie it down to what is its feasibility in the country. And that is now we have two sides of the coin. The government that had approved this bill, and then now there's the petitioner side that is now countering this bill and have the virtue of these things are not clear, these things are giving extra power, and these things are not in alignment with what was initially there in the constitution. And just to touch on now the issues that were coming up or the reasons behind it is, number one, freedom of expression, a very key aspect of the Constitution of 2010 that has been touched.
One of our in our Bill of Rights.
Yes, freedom of expression. So when I talk about freedom of expression, I would want to say person X, I can substantially prove, or in accordance with the record, let's read this expenditure, let's read what was allocated to him in the budget, where is the misalignment coming up. So the moment my freedom of expression has been cut down because I'm trying to outline my facts as they are and in accordance with maybe the documents that would come from the government, there's a chance that maybe my post would be brought down, my account would be brought down. And in one of the amendments with this is that they introduce the definition of a virtual account.
Yeah.
Okay. So that virtual account is what is uniquely identified to me as the one who made that post, for example, based on that fact. The challenge with this, for the common or the simple person to understand, is the fact that there are no outlining facts that state under this condition we will bring it down. Like there is no framework that now governs what will be brought down and what will not be brought down. It has not been clearly substantiated, and still if it's brought down, it has already gone against the Constitution of 2010. So we are trying to solve one problem, fixing one point of the ship that has a hole that is making water to seep in, but also there's a bigger one at the back.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I'd like to ask you a question. How would these laws have been framed better to make sure that, number one, they protect citizens and still make them legal, or make them okay, make them fair, make them good?
Now, Kevin, you can go first.
Number one, the first perspective to it is that there are already bodies that are there. For example, we have the ODPC, that is the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, just located here in Upper Hill, I think. So with regards to them, and also with the amendments that have been done, that body was very independent, very clean, can make legal moves, can fine you, can maybe take you to court and things of the such. And you've seen cases to the hundreds that have been fully resolved. But now with such amendments, there's a position where their stand is somehow being infringed. So, and also there is now other bodies. For example, the way I started off with the discussion, who are these people that make up this NC4? So the moment we are able to understand that they are independent bodies, there's a role that they need to perform. The roles were clearly outlined, and then now we have a new.
These people who had these independent bodies, do they know they had independent bodies? And do they know that the bodies are independent?
Very much.
Really?
Just to you can finalize.
So it's about knowledge and how you apply it ethically.
Do you know how knowledge is demonstrated?
Through action.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you say they know,
yes,
the action that we see, if I look
it's
at
like they don't know.
Well, yes, because if I look at like the Auditor General's office, if you told me they're independent, I'd say yes.
Okay.
Because by and large, they demonstrate that independence, because nobody's left out when they talk about their findings. Everybody's spoken of. And oddly enough, for the longest time, just that people don't read in this country, that office have always been known to point out things that nobody else would dare point out. Okay?
Yeah.
And it goes down to the corruption that we keep speaking of. The police service is independent. Is it not?
Very independent.
Yes. Really? It is?
It is.
Okay.
Muga, let me pick up from there and answer the question that has been asked. What can be done to ensure that we pass sober laws that protect Kenyans? And as Kevin has noted, some of these laws have importance because new offenses that were not contemplated before are actually coming up. 3 points. On the morning of 15th of October, while people are waking up and going around with their business, the president assented 8 laws. I heard the Speaker of the National Assembly saying that these are perhaps the highest number of laws that have been signed by the president on one sitting. So there is a national principle of public participation is actually enshrined in Article 10 of the Constitution. Why is the government doing these things with some shroud of secrecy and trying to overwhelm Kenyans with a lot of bills so that people don't participate well and given ample time to give their views? Allow people to give their views. Allow bodies, which Kevin has mentioned, several bodies including their own, to get a proper chance and sufficient time to give their views on a bill before it is taken to parliament and finalized on. And it's not only giving your views, take their views into consideration and amend the law so that some of these bodies are actually legal bodies, like the Law Society of Kenya. These are legal body of lawyers. They'll be able to, if given sufficient time, sufficient notice, and some level of latitude, they'll be able to pinpoint all unconstitutional issues in that law. Are you ready to amend? That's another question. If you amend that law, you'll come up with a clean law that nobody can actually succeed to challenge it in court. Public participation. Number 2, political interference. You've asked a very simple question, Muga. Do the owners or the people leading these bodies know they're independent? You know the Auditor General. The Auditor General, I know her also. She's a person who is tough, patriotic, free-thinking. She has been charged in court, you remember? She was taken to court, I don't know, for violating some Companies Act to threaten and intimidate her. She cannot be intimidated. She's people try to influence her. She cannot be influenced in any way. Go to the police, another example of an independent body. It is led by people who are puppets of the president. So that points to characters that occupy these bodies. People need to be brave. People need to be no nonsense. People need to believe in the Constitution. And you'll see some of these bodies reforming. So political interference is an important tool of interfering with the such laws and coming up with laws that are actually tainted with unconstitutionality. If those two things are handled, we'll get better laws that address the interest of the people and which will help our society to progress.
Amendments to any act that already is in force does it be okay? A bill is presented as an amendment.
Yes.
Does it go through the same process that people go through before any of these things are enacted?
Everything.
Meaning the reading.
Everything.
All right.
So also, in fact, in one of the reasons why the petition was very much on fire was the fact that it did not efficiently go through these procedures. And just to quote one of the people who are in this, Senator Okia Omtata, he said that he used a word that, like, for example, on the public participation aspect, it was not effectively done. That's what he had stated as one of the key things. While
Well,
still,
he has to state what he means by it, because why I'm asking this question, a body like yours, Kevin,
yes,
from the reading, if it was a football match, would say the whistle to start the game had been blown. Is that not so?
Yes,
You are
everyone
told
to
this
be
thing
known.
is coming up.
Yeah.
Did you people know when it was actually read the first time it was presented in Parliament? Did you know?
Now, Muga, listen to this story. It's interesting, and it comes back to the issue of constitutionalism. There's a procedure of enacting laws. First
Yes.
reading, second reading, report,
Yes,
state
yes,
committee,
yes,
state.
yes, yes.
Interestingly and purposefully, the law does not give timelines. Very clear timelines. There's one law like the Finance Act. The process can take as much as 1 month or two.
Can
But
it take a day?
we know of processes, laws that have been enacted with 2 days. First reading, second reading, report.
This particular one, how many days did it take?
So I'm not sure to those
Hold
facts,
on.
but what I can
2 days, was there public participation?
what I can mention is this. Another aspect of, and I know it happened on this law. You bring 10 bills in Parliament at one time, and then you, as politicians with instructions from their godfathers and people who control them, they tell them have only 5 minutes for this. A deliberation of 5 minutes, a debate of 5 minutes for this specific act. So in that aspect, and you know, in Kenya, the public discourse is always overwhelmed. As you are dealing with bills, you are dealing with Adani, you are dealing with corrupt governors, you are dealing with scandals that come every day. So they intentionally distract the public into other things, and then they follow the law not for you know, a kind of an objective purpose, but for procedural purposes. So whether you know or not, you don't get a proper chance to ventilate your opinion on that.
Levi, if I have given myself this patriotic duty of being one among others who keeps a close watch on this rogue parliament that we have, I would ask the question that I'm asking now. First reading, got it. It's supposed to be in the public domain. Was it in the public domain? Was it nestled in that website of Parliament so that we know?
It was.
So we knew.
Let me confess myself. I got an email. We are alerted. I have a lot of bills that are actually, it's in Kenya Law Reports.
Yes.
All bills that are in Parliament.
Yes.
I went and checked that alert to trace this bill. It was there, but it was sent with 16 others.
Even if there were 30, this is precisely my point.
Yes.
We are not dealing with people whom we met yesterday.
Yes.
They are not people whose antiques we are witnessing today.
Yes.
We know how Parliament works.
Kabisa.
It's not that we don't know. We know.
So let's assume you knew. I knew, and I took keen interest. And you are bringing up a very important issue that we should note, and I think Kevin, you should also note. There's also some form of not complacency,
lethargy,
but some form of government bodies that we know our government entities like ours, LSK and yours, should be more vigilant, because how these things pass the attention of some very important bodies is also questionable.
My point exactly, because the whistle that has been blown now with the signing could have been blown then.
Yes, but
said, folks, there is this bill. Can we look at this thing thoroughly?
Muga, let me shock you. Even if you knew, and I knew some people knew, there's nothing you can do.
No.
What do you mean there's nothing you can do?
Right
one,
now we are doing
the law does not allow you, separation of powers does not allow you to challenge a bill. It has happened once under very unique circumstances, but you cannot challenge a bill when it's in Parliament. You should allow parliament to finish its work.
Tell me about that
So you
law.
only challenge when it's enacted.
Tell me
and
about
signed.
the law so that I understand it, and where public participation, because public participation is you're discussing the bill.
Yes.
So where does public participation come in? You wait until they've gone through all the processes.
No. This I can tell you for free. If you give me time, I'll give you. It is by law. I'll give you a newspaper advertisement of this bill. It was advertised somewhere in some newspaper.
Yes, according they met the legal requirements of publishing this,
but they did not have any intention of viable and meaningful public participation.
I'm trying to say.
I have a question,
Please
perhaps,
go ahead.
and maybe perhaps it will bring out what City is trying to ask.
Yes.
So this bill, there's a reason why it has all those processes.
Yes.
The readings, including the public participation.
Yes.
So what is the purpose of public participation? For us to be told this is what the bill says, and then we agree, or this is what the bill says, and then I raise up my hand and say, wait, goja kidogo, hapo kidogo, shida.
I've litigated on public participation. Let me assist you to disseminate it. Public participation, as I've said, is one of the national values under Article 10 of the Constitution. Democracy, public participation, there are many others, all those kind of things. There are like 10 or so. So what it requires that in everything, actually everything the government does within its powers and resources, allow some people a chance to talk about it, give them an opportunity, and most important, consider their opinions. So actually it's not limited to laws. Anything, if the government wants to change curriculum to CBC, it is a national value. That means is what Muga calls the spirit of the constitution. When you want to change curriculum of schools, this is something that affects millions of people. Allow those people an opportunity to discuss it. And I've seen even things that are not laws, people have gone to court to challenge that there was no meaningful public participation. So the issue of public participation, I'll call it a procedural right, in the sense that the government has a right to avail, first notify the people. You can't participate on something you've not been notified with. And ordinarily they do through their website, newspaper advertisement. The second thing is you give people a chance. Like the best act or bill that gave proper public participation was the Finance Act of 2024. And it's not accident that for the first time a law in Kenya caused protests that almost toppled the government. That law, I remember I appeared in 3 forums to give my clients opinions on it. Public participation was exhaustive. And I saw even the president perhaps rightfully bragging. He was saying other governments have been opaque. For the first time this government has enforced a right. So that law was properly public participation was proper, and the result is that even a woman in the village could understand the basics of the Finance Act. So it is not something that is totally framed in black and white. It's something that relies on the spirit of the government. Do you want people to understand this bill? What extent, how much resources are we going to put in the Act? I'm telling you, the Finance Act of 2024, there were so many resources in millions were put in barazas in almost all counties. So what the law says is that an opportunity should be given. People should be allowed to gather and participate. You've seen emails. They always put a parliament email where you can send. I remember there's for one bill actually people sent until the email jammed or something.
It's just the finance
yeah,
bill.
it's the finance bill. So you can see it is not something in black and white. It is a spirit. So you'll find some laws the government, and it requires money. The government has put in more money for whatever reason. For some laws that it doesn't want a lot of public discourse, it kind of now shrinks to mere procedure. We've put a notice. You'll hear there was a baraza somewhere. There's an email. And then the law is passed. So it is something that is actually based on the will of the government, but in essence, to challenge that public participation did not happen, you need to prove that they did not advertise. You need to prove that no forum was given. A critical aspect about public participation: there is no mandatory requirement that what you participate should be included. So
now,
it is just procedural. They can ignore you.
To answer the question City asked.
Yes.
So at what point are we supposed to reject a bill or an act? Is it after it has been signed into law, or while it is in the process of conversation?
You cannot reject a bill and an act. There's a ways where Kenyans can enact laws. One is directly through a referendum. Second is through the elective representative. So what the government has given people is just a power to give their views. But the ultimate decision decision of passing an act lies with the parliament. So they can ignore your views so long as they give you a chance and enact that law. So that's what they did in this case.
All right. So when in this all these other processes that this bill went through before it was signed by the president.
Yes.
That's now where we're asking watu kama akina Mugo wako wapi. CJ Maraga has been very vocal now. Ruben Kigami and others, including yourself.
Yes.
So at what point why are we getting to hear about it now? Why didn't we hear about it that time to organize hata kama ni maandamano if we had to?
So that is a very important question, and that's how I'm trying to answer it. I try to get it, is that the government had no intention of bringing this bill to the attention of the people. So when they go to, this first reading looks like a very big ceremony where you first read it. No, it's just the speaker to take the paper from the clerk and say there is a bill called the computer misuse amendment bill that is before this house. That is first reading. It maybe takes a minute. Then debate comes later.
Okay.
So it is not a very ceremonious thing that everyone, and you're not allowed to participate in those stages. Those stages are for parliamentarians.
But the
As is
debate
public participation
in parliament is in the public domain.
Yes, and now what happens? These parliamentarians are puppets of some people. We know Parliament has actually been held hostage by the executive.
Where is evidence?
Evidence is there, it's here. So you will find in such a bill, they present like 8 bills on debate on one afternoon when there are only 5 parliamentarians. No, of course the quorum is attained, very few people. Then these people have instructions.
What's the quorum for parliament? 50.
So what happens in this case is that these people will debate this bill for maybe 10 minutes. And then they say we are satisfied. They move on.
Because they have been captured.
Yes. So in Kenya,
they have been captured.
In Kenya of today, where I'm working and I'm struggling to earn a living. As a lawyer, I'm representing clients. I'm struggling with Adani. I'm struggling with some other scandal. I'm excused.
Okay.
I apologize that it might have missed my attention, but I'm excused.
Actually,
I want to hear where kina Mugo were when all this was happening.
So
because you are not representing Adani, we know that.
Not at all, not at all. I've never met him. I had him the first time, as all of us on this table did. But what I would put as my contribution to this table on that is that dynamism in the professionalism in the country has changed to a very vast extent. And the expertise that is already there in the country is something that should always be considered, because when it now comes to leadership, there is management. And this management works with consultation. And through this consultation, that is now where such bodies and other bodies come in so that we can lay our own remarks. For example, in the Data Protection Act of 2019, that was something we greatly contributed to. And in fact, we had various sittings. In fact, we've assisted a lot of people in compliance. In fact, we've created a lot of awareness. If all the laws would follow, not really, if such things would be happening again and again and again and again, that there is someone you're feeling is listening to you, that there is someone from the government body that is ready to give an ear, and also whatever you have had, whatever you've contributed would be able to be of impact to the country. That is when we would be able to notice movement. One of the key things, I think, through the association, we've been able to successfully contribute to various acts, to various decisions in the court of law, and we've been able to work with ethics. So the people on the ground are there. The people on the ground can be able to do. The people on the ground are waiting.
But Mugo, you haven't answered the question. Where were you in this particular case?
Not really.
Ask Mugo a very important question. When did he hear first? When did he hear first of the miscellaneous amendment?
I would not let me represent it at my own personal level, but not under the association.
Okay.
The explosion came on October 15th.
Okay.
On my side personally, but now
as Kevin Mugo,
yes,
that is when,
but not the association.
That's fair. Look, we're not saying that you guys are angels. We definitely do not expect perfection, but I think it's only
you
fair.
are assuming that angels are perfect.
Oh yeah, angels are perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no evidence to show that.
There is no
Siti,
evidence.
wewe na
they are
evidence yako mtaenda
There
huko
might
nje.
be no evidence they are angels.
Yes.
Wewe na evidence yako mtaenda huko nje. But Mugo,
Yes.
that said and done. Moving forward, of course, this has been a very good lesson, right?
Yeah.
So now, how do we sort this thing out? Because we are now in court and we can see what is happening. Court imefanya kuna kitu wamefanya. What has the court specifically done? Have they suspended? Have they frozen? What have they done?
Yeah, number one, first thing is that it's a case in progress, and there will be another hearing on the 5th of November this year. And what will happen is that there are two parties. There is the petitioners, and then there is the respondents. From the time of the hearing, I think the petitioners were given about 3 days or so that they can table their facts, and then now the respondents were given about 7 days. So now on the 5th there will be now one of the key or the core hearings with regards now to the courts, now with regard to now the activities that are happening with regard to this. And now our antenna are fully raised. They are fully raised because we've taken time to create that awareness. We've taken time to understand, and we know the challenges that would come up with what is being amended, and even what was already there. To what extent do these laws have that muscle to handle the issues? Because technology is very dynamic. That's the first thing we need to remember, and still the laws need to move with them. So what is that power that needs to be kept? Because also in cybersecurity, as much as we are trying to, because there are two teams, they're usually the attackers and they're usually the defenders, and we have to admit that there are attacks that have never been known. We usually call them 0 days. So to what extent are we able to punch the bag the moment we are punched in the soonest time possible to counter such issues? Do we have that tenacity as a country? So those are things that we are supposed to look at and consider as a very strong learning point as we also move.
Let me ask this question. If indeed at the time when it was first read, or when the discussion started taking place and it's in the public domain, the sort of attention was given to this bill, do you think that it should have been signed into law?
Yes, it would have been. Just like the Finance Act.
Even as, let us say, this, the same attention that is being given to it now, if it was given to it before it was signed, it would still have been signed.
It would have been signed like the Finance Act, forcefully, without concern of what Kenyans think. They don't care what Kenyans think.
But don't you think that if that was the case, we'd be dealing with something completely different now?
Of course.
Because the understanding of what the noise was about would be clearer. Because the discussion around the bill,
of course,
what we're having now, would have been had then. So
Yes.
even as it's signed into law, people know exactly what has been signed into law, and they understand the ramifications of the very thing that they don't particularly agree with, and something which public participation was not fully enacted in.
Yes, knowledge is power, and it would have been important. But the fact that the law exists would have still happened. And if for someone violates the law, unless of course conservatory orders that have been placed now, they could have still charged you.
Do you know why I'm asking this question? Is because with the Gen Z protests, there was a serious pause in these matters regarding the finance bill. All right?
True.
What you have very, very vigorously and clearly argued for or portrayed is that the executive took note and gave the impression they were willing to make changes. This particular bill, and it's being signed in, is a demonstration of the effect that the 2024 demonstrations had.
Correct.
Okay?
Yes.
Cause, consequences.
Yes.
Okay? So
action and reaction.
Yes, I am of the opinion that had the sort of attention been given, one would have gone back to the 2024 issue and considered and reconsidered. I'm saying two words: considered, reconsidered, signing. Because now you are signing into law something that people actually know about and they do not like.
let me shock you, Muga, and I'll tell you the reason why we are giving attention to this bill specifically. On the 8 laws that the president signed, I've told you about the narrowness of this act. Essentially, we are in court to challenge a 4-word phrase that has been added, likely to cause someone to commit suicide. We are doing it for a purpose, and the purpose is that freedom of expression is so integral to democratic space. So let's tackle this first. Among the laws that the president signed, without getting into the details, that's a whole argument for another day. This is the list you should be concerned with. There's a law that has been signed where the government has started action to actually convert all freehold land in Kenya into kind of leasehold. So that, you know, the way you pay rates for leasehold land in Nairobi, even villagers, even people under freehold land are compelled to pay rates. So that my grandmother in the village who has lived on land for 50 years is actually now under a threat to start paying rates. And the consequences of paying rates are what? If you don't pay rates, the government has a priority interest in that land. It comes and sells that
So we are
land
back to
and
the
recovers
poll tax.
itself. Exactly. We become
heart
tenants
tax.
of the crown. Tenants Kavirondo.
Yes. We've gone back there.
So don't be shocked that this law is so draconian. There are more draconian laws that we are going to tackle. What we are keen on, let's start with the expression, because even for me to educate people on this conversion of freehold land into something else, I need to have my X account open. I need to have such a forum allowed so that we can express ourselves and educate ourselves in this. This is the kind of government we are dealing with.
And the challenge with that is that we don't know to what extent they can say close that account.
Yes.
The issue is there is no governing that. It's just these people can do
There
it.
is no provision provided for the supervisory role in some of these laws.
Who will govern them?
Yes, exactly.
Don't
Because there
close
has to be an entity that supervises this.
And
There has to be.
They were already there.
You see,
there's the communication authorities. They create this entity which reports to the Security Council, National Security Council. So you can see everything, even something that should have good intention, is being directed towards assisting the government of the day. Essentially, what it means that anything you do on social media, there's a person who is monitoring who can report directly to the president under the National Security Council. So that is the folly and that's the pitfall of dealing with a government that has an agenda, and the agenda is to oppress the people. Even something as genuine as terrorism, they want to sneak in something that will assist them have a leverage on politics and oppressing the people.
you are a lawyer.
Yes.
You know what the Patriot Act did in the US.
I know very well.
It's like an excuse was found.
After the 9/11.
Yes, an excuse
to
was now
violate
found.
all rights of the people.
You see now, it is for that reason that you see me going back to this issue. When you already know, not that you have an idea or an inkling, you know.
There is knowledge.
This parliament has a tendency of singing to the tune of the executive. You know.
They have been captured.
You know. No, they have sold their birthright. This capturing thing places the blame on the executive. May I place the blame on them? Then I place the blame on us because they are our representative and we will not hold them to account.
Mi niko na swali.
Yes.
And I'm still back to the processes of first reading, second reading, public participation, third reading. Is there a point in time that we could have gone to court and stopped this thing from going on before it was actually signed?
Unfortunately, no. And the reason is separation of powers, where the legislature's work is to make laws. The judiciary work is essentially to interpret those laws. And of course, the executive is to make policies. So we've tried it in the past, and myself, I don't support that. You know, some of these things can appear to be very good at the moment, but at some point later,
You'll get the
it might never happen in our lifetime, but we hope at some point we might have a good executive, a good legislature, parliament. Then now the executive, which in Kenya is inherent to be rogue. I don't know, we were cast or what.
No, we're not cast, please.
We cast ourselves.
No. In fact, don't even go there. The country that has been the bastion of freedom and the bastion of human rights, they elected someone, and you can see how
Donald Trump.
So you can see how that is working out.
Yes.
It's not a Kenyan
I'm
problem.
corrected. It's a humanity problem.
Yes.
So maybe we are cast as
and
humanity.
executives always try to
Sure.
exercise their
To
will.
be kings.
They always do.
It is human nature.
Yes, they do that. And that's why people who created the systems that we now work
Yes.
with understood that this check and balance must
Are
be in place.
important.
Yes.
Now back to the question, just to finalize.
Yes.
So the work of the legislature is to make laws.
Yeah.
The judiciary can only interpret those laws. So in simple terms, the logic is that you cannot interpret a law that is not a law.
Okay.
So the law requires that you are given time until that process ends, because our challenge is narrow, pure on issues of constitutionality. So we cannot, I know one case where it happened, but there are unique factors. But the general rule is that you cannot interfere with the legislative process until that law is enacted. That's why you see on most of these things, you only file petitions after it has been assented into law.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well understood. So there's a question actually here on social media.
Okay.
Someone was asking, it was about if a spouse ramages through your phone, is that a crime? Just curious. This is by Star Kenya.
It touches on privacy. And
Is that by then the cybercrimes misuse something, whatever law?
okay, so with that, I think they would have maybe our lawyer can maybe support or oppose me. I've never seen a privacy act for couples.
No, it applies. It
But
actually
now
applies.
the context is now, does it fit in or does it not?
Even your spouse can make you likely to commit suicide. Remember. True. Your spouse can make you likely to commit suicide. So as Kevin has rightly said, it is a question of privacy. You can actually sue your spouse for violating your privacy. At least theoretically, there might be other defenses, including spousal privilege and the rest. But I always tell people, and this is a problem we have in Kenya now that you've mentioned that, the law cannot solve everything. The law is a very narrow field of study. Some of these things are solved by sociology, they are solved by ethics, they are solved by morality, they are solved by humanity. If your wife is giving you trouble
They are solved
with
by
your phone,
culture.
pambana na bibi, muongeleshane, muelewane that phone is out of bounds, or what you
Bibi
get on
mugani.
the phone cannot be used against you.
Bibi Mugan.
So it goes down to who you are choosing.
Yes,
You know,
yes. The law cannot assist.
because for sickness, in sickness and in health, in good and in bad
times,
days,
poverty
till
and riches.
poverty, in privacy and no privacy. You see, so
But don't make your spouse likely to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Don't.
and yeah.
So basically, what wakili here you're saying is that Star Kenya here ni Star ameuliza swali.
Yes. It's Star.
Yeah, ni Star ameuliza. If a spouse ramages through your phone, is that a crime? Just curious. So if Star's wife or husband, because I'm not sure Star anakuanga which gender, but so if Star's spouse goes through simu ya Star na kuja mwambie ni nani hapa unaongelesha na mimi, na mwambie bwana nani alikwambia ushike simu.
Let me return to Muga's analogy.
Evidence.
And I've seen it happen. Now the Star or whoever goes to a police station.
Right.
Hey, habari yako ofisa, nataka OB. Bibi yangu ameangalia kwa simu yangu. Wewe kijana, acha ujinga. Mambo ya nyumbani, enda muongee nyumbani. Hiyo ujinga usilete hapa. Wewe peleka ujinga, sina kazi ya kufanya. Peleka ujinga yako. Bibi amekukalia, bibi anakupiga. Peleka ujinga yako mbali.
Wewe ni mwanaume aina gani?
Chukua hiyo simu ya bibi, munilie mlika mwizi.
Right.
That is the practical situation on the ground.
Yeah.
Choose your wife wisely.
Yeah, it goes down to just be wise, because the moment, because you don't, okay, there are some people who have dated today, tomorrow washaingia kwa it happens, but now take time. Who is this person? If this happens, how will he or she handle it? And it goes down to what we call emotional intelligence. Yeah, you can be intelligent, the best law decision makers. We've seen a lot of great people making bad decisions, and you're wondering, is it what was in his mind?
Yeah.
But now, because the emotional intelligence needs some tweaking, needs some engineering, your ethics needs some engineering, because even as you're going through my phone and find evidence, Yes, there is
Or
privacy, and
what-
also
what you think is adverse evidence.
I'm amazed. I didn't know Kevin is also an expert in marriage. That advice is very important.
Yes, so the context that I'm trying to, yes, there is a right to privacy, but I also have the right to, do we call it monogamy, if I may put, because the moment monogamy is also infringed, it's like a 1-1.
Yeah.
You see?
You know, it's interesting. You should say what you're saying, but consider.
Yes.
Consider this. Huh?
Yes.
The issues we talk about, especially when it relates to relationships that people have with, the good thing about this country, when you say spouse, we mean a woman. Okay, we don't mean anything else. Yes, if you're a man.
Spouse can be both.
No.
No, in Kenya it's opposite.
What I mean is
context. I think
context
it's
is if you're a man, see, there are men here.
Yes.
That's my context.
We are all men.
Yes, so if you say spouse, it's a woman. That's the context I'm saying.
Yes, true.
Okay?
Wife. Can you use
Yes,
Yes,
no.
exactly.
Okay, I'm using my words deliberately so that you can understand what it is that I am saying.
Yes.
Okay? The issues that we're discussing come about when there is a bit of friction because we are looking at some item, some issue differently. Our views on that subject are different. Now, if you do not have the maturity, again, a deliberate word, to sit and say, okay, how do you understand this? So that you can understand where this person is coming from. If you react to what they are exercising or what they manifest, the yardstick and the lenses that you're using are your own, not theirs. Okay? This is a common problem because when people are so-called dating, everybody puts their best foot forward. Okay? Everybody presents the best version of themselves. Then when you get married, the other versions that were not present at that period in time come into play. The test of marriage is how you deal with these variations, because they were always there. It's not as though they suddenly appeared, because the way you deal with it and the temerity you have to try and solve it determines you as a person, your maturity, and the sort of person you are. In most cases, as men, we're impatient. Your generation is extremely impatient.
I'm a witness. I second you.
Extremely impatient. The slightest indication that you are having a problem, you're thinking way out. My generation is not quite the same. You went and reported this matter to an older person.
A baraza.
You talk to your father. You talk to people who are older and say, this is a situation I'm having. And you will be someone and told, guys, what seems to be the issue here? Because you probably didn't want that, you would find ways of talking and solving this particular issue. The reason why I'm explaining what I'm explaining is this. That thought process also relates directly to how we relate to the law. We are hypocritical in the way we relate to the law. We will disregard the law when it suits our purposes, and we'll hold a very high standard when it relates to somebody else. Very high. Most Kenyans who are in places of employment will practice nepotism and not bat an eyelid. When they scream, it is because somebody else is benefiting and not them.
Yes.
It is the way we are. It's the way we deal with the looting of public property. If it's somebody you're aligned to, somehow it is okay. How can it possibly be okay? Irrespective of who the person is. When I talked about the relationship we have with the law, that's what I meant. We ourselves do not hold fidelity to the law. We do not have a relationship or a pact with the law where we try as much as possible to adhere to it. So when you adhere to it, that's a direct act of patriotism. But we don't.
For some objective.
People like Levi have more work than they've ever had in their lives. They have a lot of work, believe me. Because discussing a problem and solving it, lawyer. Well, he's here, ask him if I'm lying. People want them to resolve. This fellow is going to go to the law. And that problem may not necessarily require the law.
Like Star.
Yes, it does not require the law. But you've gone to him.
So there's privacy and there's right to. There's the rights that when we signed to the Attorney General, the letter, there are some responsibilities that.
We people don't want to be honest. By the time your wife is busy boarding looking at your phone, she has insecurity issues, and some of them are related directly to you. Before she married you, there's a way in which you conducted your life, and she has not forgotten. She was probably married out of 3 women you're seeing at the same time.
So she's confirming that the other
is
two
not secure.
The other 2 are out of the picture.
She knows another 4th one whom she hasn't discovered. And then she discovered that some of the names on your phone, okay, like Dan Karaoke, he is actually a lady called Daniela. But you've written Dan.
He's a Dan Karaoke. But that checking stems from the fact that legal fact, again ironical, that you alleges must prove. You see a couple, bibi anauliza bwana, I know you are cheating. Mtu anakwambia let her prove. And that's it.
But let me ask you, Wakili, if say I were to take my wife to court,
yes,
for whatever reason,
yes,
and then she's found guilty,
yes,
and then maybe she's even fined. I don't know. I do not know some of the like, for example,
why would you take her to court?
I'm just asking. This is
I know. That's why I'm asking. Why would you want to take her to court?
Let's entertain this thought for a second.
Because this wife was not forced on you. You're the one who decided to marry her.
Si ni swali ni yangu.
Okay, so
so I've reported my wife to the whatever. We are in court, and then she's fined 1 million bob or a 6-month jail term
or both.
So now hapo unajua hiyo ni divorce roho safi.
Wacha hivyo, utalipa hiyo kitu.
I saw a very interesting case recently, like 2 weeks ago. It is now becoming common where there is a court called small claims court, where now spouses are taking each other for debts.
I left
common.
I left it at deposits and landlords. So it is now in relationships.
Spouse
anasema nilikopesha bwana yangu 1,100 hajalipa. So it has become a common phenomenon. I read a very interesting decision recently where the court said sawa, tumekubali mzee anakuwa hii pesa, but so long as the marriage subsists, you cannot recover this money. Wait until you divorce. The day you divorce, you can recover the money.
For real?
So
really?
Some of these things have issues because it stems from a fact that that money was not really proven to be family money or individual money. So those issues arise. Like now when you're trying to sue your spouse, you'll have problem with something called as spousal privilege, where evidence from your spouse has some interrogation and challenges, but theoretically it's possible.
Because if let's say she lent me 100,000 bob, so I've paid rent, paid the schools.
Bro, you are started with $1 million. Why did you reduce it to 100,000?
No, I want to make it practical a bit, so that others can also relate. No, listen, 100,000.
Okay, let's move it.
So I've borrowed 100,000.
Yes, she gave you.
Yes, she gave me. I was like, hey babe, kuna venye I need to give me 100k. So 100k I have paid probably for rent, school fees. I paid.
Mzee is looking at you at a very critical.
I paid for all these expenses hapa, nikalipa mfanyikazi, ushago, kuna kitu nilikuwa nalipa. Then sasa nipeleke kotini, niambie judge, but alinipatia pesa na tumeitumia tu kwa nyumba, sasa alinipatia nikapeleka Sabina Joy. Is that, can I get away with that?
Actually, no. I remember there's a time I was in some police station in Nairobi late at night. Then a lady came in and said he wants to record an OB. Then the police asked, what is the problem? And the lady simply says, huyu ni bebu wangu, bebu wangu amenikona.
Unaona unashtuka vitu zinafanyika city.
The reason why this discussion is interesting is because it tells you about our collective psyche, how we handle things.
Yeah.
And then there's a group of people who represent 70% of our population.
70,
Yes, 70 plus actually. They are the ones who are ensconced in this thinking more than even my generation. Now, when you have a situation where you don't pay attention to details, a lot of things are going to pass you by.
Completely. Very true, sir.
There are a lot of things that you can actually forestall. You may not solve it, but utaiwekea breki kwa mbali, even as you, yes. But we do not, because you think the solution is you go and see levy, or you go to the police station, and then many of these issues you don't actually need to go to any of those places.
One day I sent my assistant to go and serve divorce papers. A lady came in the office very furious. I want to divorce the husband. Said, okay, kai imeshindikana, let me prepare divorce papers. They were taken to the homestead because that's the only place we could trace the husband. my assistant found the lady in the arms, in the bosom of her husband. Wamelala wametulia kwa coach nje, relax. Alafu my
akamserve papers.
There are papers here. The husband is asking which papers. The wife is looking, is like she doesn't know what is happening. The husband looks at her, babe, hizi ni nini? The wife calls me and tells me, ambia mtu wako achukue makaratasi, hiyo mambo iliisha.
I've changed my mind.
I've changed my mind.
I think it's high time that from wherever we are, it goes down to ethics.
Okay.
Yes.
It goes down to ethics. And I'm happy with the way he has said that not all 101 cases can be resolved. But the moment, number one, you have wisdom. You have the right calling that I am the man in the house, I need to do 1, 2, 3. She's the lady in the house, she needs to do 4, 5, 6, A, B, C. Yes, there may be conflicts because of challenges in life. But now, do we have the strength to hold on together?
Okay.
Do you have the strength to strategize? Do you have the strength to sit on the same table? Because sitting on the same table, husband and wife, maybe sometimes is a challenge. One goes to that corner, the other one to that corner. But when children come along, it's all smiles and games. But when they go to bed, and
Again, everyone goes to their corner.
Goes to their corner, first half, second half.
Okay.
So I think it's high time from wherever we are, regardless of whether it's relationships, whether it's government, whether it's the laws that we are fighting or agreeing with, whether it is our association doing this and the other, let's be governed by ethics. Let each person do.
You know, Kevin, you are so spot on. We are all citizens of this country and we don't have another country.
Very true.
Okay?
Yes.
The reason why this discussion of marriage to me was important, we are married to this country.
Husband and wife.
Yeah, even if you leave, believe me, you are known as a Kenyan first, then whatever other nationality you've taken.
And a lot of people outside say, I want to go back to my home.
Most people who go abroad want to come back. I'm simply saying that the attention that we're giving this discussion, the same sort of attention we should give to anything that involves the running of the country. And the same fidelity. And apply the same measure, because you realize you don't want this thing to go to the dogs because I live here. But at the same time, I'm not putting up with this nonsense that I'm seeing these guys are putting. Yes. So how do I go about it? Especially somebody whom I've elected and should be working for me and they're not doing it. These are discussions that we must have ethically and honestly, as you've suggested. Because if we don't have them, we may not have a country. People who have not adhered to some of these things, we just look around us. With the exception of Tanzania, all our neighbors have had some really very serious problems, genuinely serious. And we fail to see that we have a uniqueness. With all our 40, how many are we? 45 tribes, or how many are we now?
44.
44, huh? We actually have a formula of working together, despite all these problems that we are told are difficulties. And the people who bring about these things are these fellows we've elected. They are the ones who, with every electoral cycle, they take us back. We want to move forward. In the 4 years before the election, we do fine. We get along fine. Then we allow, forget them, we allow them to bring this between, and they start with the clans, then they move to a higher level, then they make it tribe. We allow it. This is my position. We allow it. And so long as we allow it, we are going to be discussing and talking about how terrible these people are.
It's more of, we need call to action. We need call to action from the ground to the top.
Finally, on this cyber crimes thing, do you think anything will change? Ama tumeenda tu kotini, ndio tuonekana tulienda kotini, but this thing is the law.
Yeah, that is the law, but I'm happy with the way the court has given an open ear, because from the word go, we know the common words that are maybe used, null and void, in substantive evidence,
hot
and
air.
The rest. Hot air, excellent.
Wakili, mnaona kitu kifanyika kotini ama hii ni story tu?
Yes. One of the tests for giving conservatory orders is that the case is strong. So most of the cases where a conservatory order is issued, we are likely to prevail and win the matter.
Okay.
But there's a bigger problem in the sense that I've seen it like something to do with affordable housing. If we done, it's declared unconstitutional, they go and enact another law. So the solution might come earlier, but most likely in 2027.
Yeah.
Vote for leaders wisely. Vote for an MP who knows that is in parliament to protect your interest and cannot support such laws,
Yeah.
and vote for a president who is also keen to ensure that the constitution and the oath of office that he took is upheld.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. We've come to the end of the show. Kevin Mugo, asante sana. I guess we shall invite you on a different date now to talk about marriage, eh?
Okay, I think even before we get to marriage, let's just fix one issue at a time.
Yeah.
Let's first fix the laws. Let's first fix security in our country and the rest. But it will be a continuous discussion, and I'm very open. I think it's been like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's been a very interesting discussion, sitting down with a lawyer, being on the same page. In fact, this is the kind of conversations that we need to have. There was once a time, and those were one of the reasons why the association came forth. The fact that lawyers and people who are expert witnesses, we come to the court of law as expert witnesses, people who present the evidence.
Okay.
So we need to speak the same language, and that's what we've always been fighting for. And from the word go, I'm very happy with Mr. Levy, and this is the kind of conversations we need to having. We are sitting down on the same table. Even if your 7 plus 5 is 12, my 6 plus 6 will also be 12. So the moment we have such conversations, that's when we'll be able to move forward.
All right. Gentlemen, enjoy your weekend. City.
Thank you.
Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Radio